Good afternoon, everybody. This is DJ Armani, and I am here to welcome you to Athletics Productions. Today, I'll be joined with my co-host Victor and one of the leading British sprinters, OJIE EDOBURUN. Please, OJIE, tell us about yourself.
Well, you've done a good job of introducing me already. Yeah, my name's OJ, like you already said. 100 and 200 meter sprinter from Great Britain, and yeah, trying to make some noise in the next few seasons to come.
Okay, trying to make some noise. How's training been going for you currently?
Training's been going really well this year. I took some, obviously I'm in my second year now with my coach, so we've kind of had our first season of like getting to know each other, getting things right, getting things wrong, and just me getting used to a new program. But now this year, I feel like I've kind of come in at a more accelerated rate than last season, and it showed in my training and in my development, and I'm feeling really confident for this indoor season coming up.
Okay, so you're going to be doing indoors?
Yeah, European indoors, yeah.
Okay, cool. So, question, European indoors is your target?
Yeah.
So that means you're going to be taking part in the 60?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Are you going to be doing anything else over the indoor season? You know, dabble in the 2?
Absolute myth.
Maybe stretch it out to a 4?
Absolute myth. People say to me, oh yeah, you should do a 400, you got the limbs for it, you got the... I'm sorry, let me just give a disclaimer right now. I'm never ever doing a 400 meters in my career, ever. 200, the thing is with the 200, I wouldn't mind doing it, but I feel like there's not a lot of good tracks in the UK for it. I think Birmingham indoor is probably the best one that probably mirrors what the indoor tracks are like in America. Okay. But when you've got a hard banks, I think it's just an injury risk, and it's just not necessary. So I don't need to really
do much 200 like on your par of 10. It's like hardly any 200. It's
yeah,
maybe 160.
This is the thing. Like I always say to my coaches, whoever I've been with over the years, I want to do some twos this year. I want to do some twos. But when the season kind of starts, and like let's say I'm doing 100, and then it's not really going well, blah blah. Okay, I want to do more hundreds to try and fix it. So I never really have time for the 2. But I think on reflection, now moving forward with the 2, I think for me, I'm more of a speed-led athlete rather than say an endurance athlete. Okay. So I don't feel as though I'd run sub 20 from doing a load of endurance work and tempo runs. It's gonna be from coming into it with a lot of speed in the tank anyway. Sub 10 speed is what I want. So for me, my focus is to run sub 10 first, and then I'm gonna move over to the 2s and try and do what I can in that event, because I feel like I want to be a master at the 100 first before I take my focus over to 200. So that's kind of my thoughts on it now. Yeah. Okay,
cool. So you said about your training program being different.
Yeah.
What's different about this particular program as opposed to the ones that you've done in the past?
Do you know what? I wouldn't really say that it's completely different. I feel like these days as well, you see on Instagram, everyone's an Instagram coach these days. Like you see on Instagram, everyone's kind of doing the same thing. You've got to accelerate, you've got to do your tempo runs and your long ruck, you've got to do your gym, you've got to do your core, you've got to have therapy. We all do the same thing. Yeah. But I think what separates people is how you do it, the detail you have in doing it, and how effectively you can convey that to your athletes. So for me, now I'm with Steve Fudge, I was with Jonas before, and they've kind of come from the same mentors, that being in Dan Path, your Vince Anderson. So the programs are not really that different. Okay. I think for me, it's more so the mindset I have coming into it, the environment I'm in is obviously different. And I think probably just the way things are being translated to me, I can understand it maybe just a bit different than I did before. Okay. And sometimes you just need to just have a different perspective on how you're doing something. It could be the exact same thing, but if you did it slightly differently, you just might get different results. So that was kind of my reasoning in moving coaches, I guess. Okay,
cool. I'll touch on that one in a second about moving coaches.
Yeah.
So on a weekly basis, how often do you train?
So we train 5 times a week. Okay. So we'll go Monday, acceleration. Tuesday will be like more of our endurance. Wednesday's a day off. But it's not really a day off because it's therapy. Okay. I've got to either travel to Oxford or Stevenage or wherever I've got to go to get therapy. And then Thursday's a repeat of Monday, Friday's a repeat of Tuesday, and the Saturday is like a general strength type of day.
Okay.
So that's pretty much my makeup for the week.
Okay, so it's kind of like it's 5 and 6 days at the same
In
time.
a way, in a way.
Okay, that's cool. So you pretty much do speed whole year round.
In a way, I think obviously certain aspects of the year we won't be hitting speed as aggressively as maybe say a few weeks out from an indoor race.
Yeah.
But generally, it's a speed program. Like we have acceleration elements in the program. I think at different points of the year it will be a lot of it, and then other points will be a bit less of it. But it's all about, it's like a seesaw, you know, just kind of have the balance of the two and not letting the other suffer. So that's the balance, I guess, and that's the job of a coach, to kind of find that balance for the athlete.
Well, balance is a very interesting thing, because a lot of people say that balance has to be 50-50.
Yeah.
I kind of think, well, it could be 60-40 or 70-30.
Totally, I think it just depends on who you are.
As long as the balance is there,
yeah,
it doesn't matter which way the percentage goes. As long as it's there, you're going to have it.
It's going to be different for every athlete. Like some people are endurance-led, some people are speed-led, some people are God knows what led. Like there's different roads to Rome, as people will say, right?
Yeah.
So there's no rule like if you don't do this, you can't run fast. Like I've heard so many different stories of athletes who have run crazy quick and hadn't even gone past 150 meters that year in training. Like some maybe not even past 100 meters. Some who were on the bike for majority. Donovan Bailey, 96 weeks from the Olympics, was on the bike.
Yeah.
He was even running, and he broke the world record. So I just say that to say there's many different ways to get to where we want to go to. So that's what I say.
So like last year, you came out, you changed coaches, and then you came out, you ran 6:58.
58 first race.
Yeah, 58. And what were you thinking? Like, obviously, you've changed coaches. As everyone says, you change coaches, everything goes down. That's what they expect.
Yeah.
And in reality, you just kind of improved.
It was crazy. Like, I think even the profile of myself so far in my career has just been a bit one of those ones where it's kind of like been like up and down in a way. But with my new coach, I guess when I went to him, I was coming from a place of I didn't really have a lot of confidence. I think not making the 2017 World Championship team, I lost a lot of confidence, and I was kind of just questioning myself like, am I actually, good enough to do the things I'm trying to say I want to do? I haven't seen the results. So in moving to him, I kind of just had a blank canvas. I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna take in everything you want me to do, and see where this goes. So, and we don't do timing in training. It's in like we time obviously like long runs, but we don't do like timing for speed. So everything's based on feeling and consistency in movements. So I thought, well, it's either going to be 6'6" mid or like 6'7". I honestly didn't know, because the 2017 indoor season I ran 6'7", but I pulled my groin. But even still, I ran 6'7" indoor, so I didn't have no reference of any fast 60. So coming out 58, I wanted to do it, but I didn't think it would come out first race. So I was like, okay. We're in business sort of thing. So I ended up in 56. I probably should have gone a lot quicker, but it opened up so well. I probably should have ended up with like a 6'5" low, to be fair. But it was a good time. It was a good time for me and my coach, I would say that, yeah.
Because did you decide not to go to the Commonwealths?
Well, this is what happened, right? They picked it because it was so early. They picked the team from like based on the season before, right?
Yeah.
So what it was that I didn't get picked for the 100 initially. It kind of, they went in like, I don't know what the criteria was. I never read it to this day, but I didn't get picked. And obviously a lot of people were declining it, accepting it, declining. So no one really knew where they stood. But I got a phone call midway through the indoor season saying, do you want to come Commonwealths for the relay? People are dropping out. We need someone to run. And for me, like, I was in the point of training where I'm now competing. I'm focused on the 60. Like, I'm not going to divert my focus towards the Commonwealth Games in Australia. Yeah. Like, that's just random. Like, I know there's some things in life you can do spontaneously, but that just wasn't part of my plan. So it just wasn't something that attracted me really. So I guess what I'm saying is I didn't get invited initially, then got asked, like, I think for me too late.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just didn't make sense for me.
So what you're saying is, I'm not an afterthought, essentially.
Take it how you want to take it.
Fair
but
enough.
The truth of it is, I guess to a certain degree I am saying that, but it just didn't make sense for me. Like, it just didn't make sense for me. Maybe if I was going for the 100 meters and I'd planned it with my coach and whatever, it could have been a good medal opportunity because, like 10-1 high was getting medals and stuff like that. Like, it was probably a good development competition for me to be at. but it just wasn't in the plan, so it just never happened.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it just never happened.
So let's roll back the clock.
Okay.
Say 6-7 years.
I don't even remember what I looked like 6-7 years ago.
Well, I'll probably say that you look pretty much the same, maybe a little bit shorter.
Raw.
A little bit less muscular.
I'm in the gym, you know, pumping weights. A man telling me I look the same. What's going on?
You were quite big. You were quite, broad for your age.
Yeah,
so it's cool. We can. It's fine. It's
okay,
fine.
you saved it.
I saved you. Don't worry. I got you. Starting out in the sport, what drew you to athletics?
Yeah.
Because it's very rare that you find someone who just came to athletics.
Yeah.
So what was there? Football?
Yeah.
You were quite tall. So was your school trying to push into basketball?
Yeah, I tried all
What
those.
came before?
I tried all those sports, like anyone growing up in the ends, you want to be a footballer, you want to make it out, you want to have the flash lifestyle, blah blah blah. Obviously, I tried to do that. It didn't work. I had the speed. I had, I could finish, but like I just didn't have the endurance. And because I was quick, everyone just kept kicking it over the top, expecting me to run every time, and I was getting cramped. I couldn't hack it. It was just mad, innit? So that didn't work out for me. I did a bit of basketball. But I don't think I was tall enough, so that didn't really work out. Tried to do a bit of rugby, but I quickly found out that I don't want someone elbowing me in the face. I'm just not on that. So after trying all those sports, I was actually at Sports Day at Lee Valley where I train now, and I ran the last leg of a relay. And one of the workers here, Peter Scott, he still works here till today, and he was basically just like, "Yo, you need to come down to the track and train." Blah blah blah, and I was just like, okay. So I'm going to my friends. I'm like, I got scouted. I got scouted for athletics. I'm gonna do this thing. I did athletics. Rah rah rah. So yeah, I didn't even. And to be fair, from the day he told me to when I actually came to the track was like 6 months later. That I was very much just like holding it off because I wasn't really sold on it.
Okay.
But then when I came to the track, when I saw all the athletes, I joined up with Eddie Stevens at Enfield and Harringay, and we trained in the evenings on the Tuesday and the Thursday. And when I came down, I saw the athletes, saw everyone sprinting. I came in Air Forces. I did the session in Air Forces. Like I was really not prepared. And when I came to track and I saw everyone, I said, you know what, this is where I want to be. Like it's competitive. I like the banter.
Different atmosphere to football.
But it was different to football. It was more individual. And like everything about it, I just felt. I remember the night like it was yesterday. I remember coming to the track and I just fell in love with it. And I thought, right, this is what I'm gonna do. When I got home, Mum, I need spikes. I need a new trackie. I need this. I need that. And yeah, it's just fell in love with it since then.
How old were you then?
Good question. I think I was just turning 16. So I guess someone would say it would probably start a bit late, but I developed quite quickly. So I kind of made up the time I wasn't in the sport, let's say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So first competition. How did that go? If you can remember back that far.
I remember it very clearly. I think my first competition was the Middlesex Outdoor County Champs. Okay, cool. In Mile End. And I remember I made the final. I ran 11:64 with a 3.8 or something like that. And
behind or in front?
No, wow, I came last. Under 17, I came last with that. And I remember going on power of 10. And obviously, when your times are windy, they don't want to come up.
Yeah.
So I was like, where's my time? I ran 11:64. I'm ranked 380th in the UK. Where's my time? Yeah. Getting vexed. And then like, no, when you run windy, I even emailed them. And when you run windy times, obviously it don't count on the rankings and whatever. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I looked at the female rankings and they were all faster than me. And I was like, yo, I've got a way to go in this track thing, don't I? But it was a season of just developing. I finished the season with 11:18, I think. That was my last, my last rest of the season. I ran 11:18, and that was the fastest time I ran in my first season in athletics. So I think I took half a second off in my first season, which was good. Yeah, and it was good times, man.
How long did it take you to get your first, like, should I say, national medal, like before you went international?
Yeah.
So like English schools or counties?
And I went to English schools in 2012. 2012 was a bit tough because I had hamstring injuries.
You went in my year.
Did I go in your year? No way.
Yeah, you would have gone in my year.
Yeah, I went 2012. I went to English schools. I was a last year under 17, and like I used to have this issue with like pressure, and I still kind of had that issue up until maybe like 2017.
Okay.
I'd always overcook kind of like the magnitude of the competition, and obviously when you're putting a lot of pressure yourself, you dehydrate a lot quicker, and I always used to cramp up all the time in big races. You probably like trials, I'd cramp up quite a lot at trials. It happened to me even this year, and loads of other junior competitions, but went to the first round and cramped up, and I was like, God, why? Like, why me? Like, why? Anyway, cramped up, bombed out, and then my first national medal, let's say, was in the indoor 60 meters in Birmingham. This is my first year joining Oakland College, my first year as an under 20. And I remember going there and there was loads of guys who were faster than me. I think I'd gone in there, my best was like 6:80 something, 90 maybe, I don't know, I can't remember. And it was a sick day for me, because that was like kind of not the boy becoming a man, because I was very much still a boy. I was like 16, 17. I was 16 actually. And I came second to CJ, my training partner at the time, and I ran 6:88. I think he ran 6:68. So he shouldn't have been in that age group that year, man. They should have let him go seniors, because he was just way better than everyone. He was a third year on the 20. So he was just a big man, battering boys.
This has always been the thing from way back. Because obviously there are some people who managed to sneak a third year as a...
I got the third year, and I was the one in 2015 who was bossing it, so I enjoyed my time. It
was one of those ones where it's like, if you're a third year and you ain't saying nothing, it's like...
It's long.
Well, what did you do for the 3 years?
You need to go get
You need to go find a new career. But, okay, so you were a third year.
And I was first year. And obviously being a first year getting a medal was big things, because obviously usually like first years at that time weren't really getting that. So 6:88, and I was like, it was such a good time. And then the next day Reese won the 200, and we would like, because we lived with each other on campus at Oakland College. This is in St. Albans, so it was just a sick time for us, because we were, as under 17, we weren't really the guys. So to come like literally less than a year later and start bossing our age group, it was a sick time for everyone, and we were all in the same training group. So it was just...
So while you were at Oakland's, were you still under Eddie?
No, so I had moved over to Jonas and Ryan Freckleton that year.
Okay, so they were
so Ryan Freckleton is the guy who basically founded Oakland's athletics.
Okay. And
at that time, the program wasn't really as big as it is now, because obviously many people have come through that program now. Yeah. But we were kind of like there were people who came before, but we were the first kind of really talented ones that came through. So Eddie referred us. It was kind of like it was a really easy transition. He said, listen guys, you can get... you could do your education, you could get really good training, S&C, track, therapy, this whole package is here, just live on campus. And for me, I was very much like, I wanted to get out of the house, I wanted to kind of, like explore a bit in my teens, innit? So it sounded good to me. All the men were like, yeah, let's go. So it was like all the boys were kind of going. So it was sick. We were just like, yeah, let's go. So it was a wild time anyway. But
was that something that you had to pay for as such?
Yeah. So I was lucky enough to get a bursary, which made it a bit cheaper. But essentially my mum and dad helped pay for that for the 3 years I was there. And so I was with Jonas, and I was with Ryan, and they basically were the guys who took me through my whole junior career. So it was a very, very good time.
So like, just to refer back to something you said, so the under 17, you said you guys weren't saying much. A year later,
even less than a
year later, you've now come and you've gone to World Juniors.
Yeah, World Youths. That was that
World
year.
Youths. Sorry. What was that like? How was that for you? Because that's a big thing. Like, very, very few people get to go to these competitions. So when you think to yourself, last year I was just about like making the final and coming in the top 8 nationally. Yeah. Fast forward a year, I'm now World Youths. This is like the best of the best for my age. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this was one of those times in life that, like, you know, when you're just on the journey and like everything's just going your way, like everything was just getting better and better. Each race was just getting better and better. It was just one of those points in my life where it was just, everything was just sick. Like, I was naive to what I was doing as well, which I think is sick. And that's something that we could probably talk about later, in terms of what sometimes you lose when you try and transition into a senior athlete. But I was just very naive. I just knew I was hungry. I knew I wanted to be better than the under-17s that were hammering me the year before. And I just knew I wanted to be at the World Youth. I just knew where I wanted to go. I just didn't know I was going to get there, sort of thing. And I remember starting off that season of like a 10-7. Then the next race was like a 10-6. Then it was like a 10-5. Then it was a 10-4. Then it was a 10-3. And before you knew it, I had gone from 10.91 to 10.35 in the space of a season, which was like kind of unheard of. Like no one ain't really taking a whole almost over half a second off their time in that season. And even when I looked at myself running like at the World Youth, I was like, wow, like I was just kind of like, I got to the final and I was like, how did I get here? I was doing like young athletes leagues the other day. Now I'm in a world final, and I feel like I'm about to win this thing, sort of thing. I was like, rah, this is kind of mad. But
did you win?
Well, I came second.
Okay.
And we ran the same time as first place. So literally, I missed out on gold by 0.02 of a second. So that would have been a sick way to cap off that year, to be fair, with a gold. But I feel like if it was a win for me, do you know what I mean? But
you got the medal.
Yeah, got the medal.
You got the medal. You secured that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you a question. What's worse? Coming joint first, essentially.
joint first. Yeah.
Or finishing in 4th place.
I think 4th place, because at least you have some. At least you have a medal. Do you know what I mean? Like, at least you have a medal. Do you know what I mean? Like, even if you come 3rd or 2nd or whatever, you might not be happy with it, but it's documented in history. You got a medal. You've got silverware to show for it, and you can always be better. But if you come 4th, it's like no one don't remember 4th place. No one remember 5th place, 6th place, 7th place, 8th place. Some people don't remember 2nd and 3rd. They remember the champion. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? So essentially, you want to be as close to 1st place as possible. So for me to get joint 1st in a way, I was gassed because of where I was coming from. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was coming from a point where it was like, my dad said to me, listen, you're quitting athletics because your GCSEs weren't that good. And you need to focus. I want you to be, what do you say you want me to be? Like an engineer or a doctor, whatever these things, yeah. And like, he was like, listen, if you're not going to be the best at this, quit. Like, I'm not seeing you show me potential that you could be good. And I begged him, I said, listen, just give me 1 season. Give me 1 year. Let me go to this college. Just give me 1 season. If I don't do what I need to do, look, you could take me back. I'll come back home and I can go. I went to go to Westminster Kingsway College, I think. Okay, cool. He was like, look, take me there. I'll do my A-levels, whatever. Just give me 1 season. And in that season, essentially, I changed my life for that point in that season. And then from there, you know, he's never said to me, oh, don't do track. Obviously, he's been on side, but it meant a lot because of where I was coming from. It was like, it was really I grinded that year. I've been grinding ever since, but that year was a grind. Like, people don't know what we were doing that year just to.
So that pushed
do you know what I mean? Yeah, when you're coming, this is the thing. Like, people, there's so much that you can gain and admire from the grind and not being as privileged or as fortunate as someone else, because the skills it gives you and the hunger it gives you is different from someone who's already been there or is expected to be there, and it's just like, yeah, I'm here, whatever. Like, when you know I've got no choice but to succeed at this, or else I can't do this no more. It's different to knowing if I don't do it, I can always come back
next year.
Not saying that those people don't try hard, but I'm sorry, the person who hasn't got anything at all is going to be hungrier than the guy who has it. It's
the person who has nothing to lose.
The person who has nothing to lose, and I had nothing to lose that year, and that was probably the only year I think I had nothing to lose. I guess I'm kind of moving back into that point now. It's interesting. I feel like I'm a senior, but I feel like I'm almost in my first year that I felt like when I was in my first year juniors, because I'm in a different world now. Yeah. Now I'm trying to break into the big leagues, and I kind of how I felt when I was trying to break into the big leagues as a junior. So it still feels like it feels like similar settings. Just obviously the stakes are a lot higher, and I'm a lot quicker now. Yeah. But it feels the same. So that period was a really good time for me, you know.
So over that 3-year period of being an under 20, what would you say your consistency was like? Because consistency is always it's something that kind of gets overlooked a lot in a lot of different things. Yeah. In terms of like your times, were they consistent the whole way through? Did you have the drop-offs? Did you have the, oh, why did I run that time moment? And then you had the, oh, okay, yeah, I'm back on track.
This is the thing, like, it's sick to run fast when you're young, because I think you give yourself a platform to build off of for a senior. And the platform I mean is the financial security to do what you love without the pressure of having to do a job or having to question your place in the sport. So obviously some people do it without contracts and financial support and they blow through seniors, but I think that route is harder.
Yeah.
If you have an opportunity to be financially supported and to give you the opportunity to get the therapy, to get the coaching, that's going to help your chances, innit? So I say that bit is good, but the downside that came with it is, and I think this is the thing I see, and you know, I see so many juniors, yeah, and I talk like I'm old, I'm only 22, but I see so many juniors, and they remind me of myself, like, they've got the bravado, they've got the swagger, like, I'm here, yeah, around this time, yeah, but I'm looking at them thinking, bro, I did exactly what you did, and this is what people don't realize. You run a one-off time, an outlier time. Outlier, something that stands by itself. Yeah, you did it, but it's not really you in a way. Yeah. People do that and they think, so for in my case, I ran 10:16 at 18 years old. I think 5th fastest British junior of all time, behind some seriously good sprinters who have gone on to achieve good things within British sprinting. I think I was like 4th fastest in the world that year. So it was a serious thing, right?
Yeah, 4th fastest in the world is, at that age
was pretty mad.
That's a lot to scream about.
So, but I did that. But where I went wrong was that I thought I was a 10:16 man. Okay. I didn't even run 10:2 that year. I went from 10:30 to 10:16. Yeah. Like I was running 10:3s all year long. I went to Bedford and I went 10:16. Bang. Now the problem was, and I think within myself and people around me, the narrative now became, well, you're a 10:1 man, so we're gonna run 10:0 next year. We're gonna run 9:9 next year. Yeah. You haven't even run 10:2 yet. You need to be consistent, like what you're saying. Yeah. I wasn't consistent. I knew how to give you something special, but not on a regular basis. So I went into my 3rd year as a junior with this expectation of I've got to win the European Championship. I've now got an Adidas contract where if I don't win it, then I'm gonna get reduction. So I've got that to play with. I'm the best in the age group by a long shot. And I'm just looking at, I wanna break the British junior record. I wanna run 10:0. I wanna run 9:9. Because of a 10:16 I ran on a good day, it was 1.9. It was a good day. That's a good day.
Pretty much perfect race.
Pretty much that's perfect race. Not normal. It's not really normal settings, really and truly. Yeah, but and the people around me made me believe that was the case. I ran 10:2 all year long. I think my fastest time was 10:22, and I was vexed. I won the European Championships. I came third at the British Senior Championship. I had a good year. In terms of developing into a scene. I had a good year. I thought, because I was like, I didn't run faster than 10:16. I'm a failure. What the hell? And then that created, up until probably last year, that created this false narrative that I should have been running sub 10 when really I had to be a consistent 10:1 man, 10:2 man, 10:0 man first. I hadn't even been consistent then. What am I doing talking about these times when I'm not consistent yet? I see a lot of this happening with the juniors. They run a one-off sick time in Bedford, where everyone goes to run it, and then they think they're that guy. And then the next year you find that they can't reach those performances, and then they leave their coach, and then they do this, and then they start blaming this. It's because of this, it's because of that. No, slow your roll. Humility. We need to be consistent. And that's where a lot of people go wrong. And that's where the infrastructure and everything in this country, it builds you up to believe that actually, I'm going here. And I'm not saying don't have aspirations. Of course I have aspirations, but in moderation and take things one step at a time. So to answer your question, I guess, for a junior, I think being 10:2 consistent is still pretty good. But for me, because I'd had the outlier 10:1, I didn't appreciate really a lot of what I did in my 3rd year as a junior. I didn't really, I crossed the line in that final in Sweden and I wasn't even happy. Because I saw 10:3 on the clock, I wasn't even happy. I was like, phew. Then I thought, oh crap, I'm in the championships, and let me celebrate. And I was like, yeah. But in my head, I was like, man, I didn't run 10:0. And I became time driven, and I used to measure myself off of times. If I didn't run this time, I felt. And I did that for so long, to the point where when I was doing good things, I couldn't even appreciate them because I thought I should be somewhere where probably wasn't ready to be at yet. It was only when I moved to Steve, he sat down, and this is the word that no one likes to hear, you're average. Because that's the truth. Yeah. What is your top 10 average? And I think my average was like 10:18. And he was like, you're a 10:1 man right now. I know you don't want to hear that. I know you want to run these mad times, but you're a 10:1 man right now. we need to work on getting your average down to 10-10 and under. That's when we can start talking about sub 10s. And when I started to realize the process of how I need to be consistent, I was like, right, I need to slow my roll a bit and take this a bit slower, because although I ran fast 4 years ago, it shows great indication that I can be great as a senior, but it doesn't mean that I was going to get the things I wanted there and then. And that's what I think probably held me back for many seasons after that, to be honest.
Okay, so that was 20, so you would have been...
14, I was 18.
Yeah, 18, so around that time. And then you would have had one last year.
I had the last year after that, 2015.
And then how was that?
That year was good. Like, I won the European Junior Championship.
So that was the European.
That was the European. That's the year after was the European Junior Championship, 2015.
Okay.
In Eskilstuna, Sweden. I'm surprised I still know how to say that name. When I first heard it, I was like, "Where are we going?
Like,
we're going to what next
Can
place?"
Someone break this down for me, because I can't really.
I just used to call it Stuna. Like, I just say Stuna.
Yeah, you find something in there that you can say, I know this word.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're now you are officially a senior athlete.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things have now been thrown out the window, such as social life.
In a way, yeah. In a way,
how was
but
that
I still kind of
coming through? Because as an athlete, we're kind of made to believe that you don't have a social life. All you do is train.
Mm-hmm.
All you do is you wake up, you eat good, you go to train, you come home, you eat good again, and you just repeat that same cycle.
Yeah.
How different is it now as a senior compared to when you was a junior? And please give us some enlightenment into what your diet is like now.
Well, when I was a junior, I was reckless. To be totally honest with you, like I was out here doing mad stuff, like going out all the time, partying and whatever. And I don't regret it, because I was young. Like, you need to enjoy your years. You sometimes, like, you can't get old too soon. Yeah. Because when you get to your mid-20s, you're gonna be like, right, where's the time gone? Do you know what I mean? And I think everything is about balance. I think lifestyle is subjective to the individual, because there's been years where I've been poor with my diet, gone out quite a lot, sleep late, blah, 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 run a certain time. Then another year, been on it, sleeping, I'm I'm going to see you next year. I'm not out, I'm at home, recovery, everything, same time, around the same time. So what was the limiting factor? What was the defining factor in making me run fast? It might not have been the lifestyle, it might have been other things. Yeah. So now I'm older, and I'm getting faster, I'm realizing you need to rest, because to be able to come back and do the session at the same intensity it needs to be done at, you need to rest. Whereas before, I could give you a 6 session on a Monday, it may not give you anything else till Friday. But now I can come in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and give you the same level every time, because my lifestyle's a bit better. In terms of nutrition, I'll be the last person to sit here and tell you, I have 5 grams of protein, I have 5 grams of veg. I'm not on that, because it makes things too complicated. Some people, if you're someone who puts on weight quickly or whatever, I get it, you got to control that. But for me, I keep it simple. Have some protein, have some carbs, have some salad or veg, fruit as well. Have a balance of those things, and make sure on my plate, one of those things has always been represented on my plate. Yeah. That's it. I don't care how big or how small the portion is. My thing more so is how frequently I'm eating. Okay. So for me, I find that when I don't eat frequently, I lack energy and I'm more tired and blah, blah, blah. So I try to eat 5 times a day. Okay. But not 5 meals a day. Yeah. So breakfast is going to be my big meal. Yeah. Snack in between. It could be a cereal bar. It could be a rice cake. It could be anything, yeah? Yeah. That's my second one. My third one's lunch. Snack again. 5th one's dinner. And that's how I try to keep my routine, because it's unrealistic for me to say, I'm going to have this much grams, I'm going to do this, because what if my day's hectic one day and I forget to do it? Oh, am I gonna, all of a sudden I'm not going to run fast. That can't be my determinant, nutrition. Yeah, and if it is my determinant, then clearly there's other things I'm not doing well, if that's my determinant to run fast.
Because I watched a documentary, I think it was a brief documentary on Tyson Gay. This was a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And like, he's one of the greatest sprinters ever to touch this planet. Yeah. But it just seemed like he almost didn't enjoy the sport, because it was just so planned out. Like, he was like, Monday I have chicken, Tuesday I have this. And I was like, that's way too disciplined for me. I can't do that. I can't be that guy.
I think with Tyson Gay, I don't know him personally. I had an opportunity to meet him in 2012 pre-Olympics. But like, from what I've seen, I think what we all know of him, I think he was probably unhappy because of a certain Jamaican who kept taking his shine.
I would be too.
Yeah, who kept taking his shine away. So maybe it might not have been nutrition, because I can understand when you start to run anything really 980 faster, I feel like you've got to tighten everything up. Yeah. If you're going to do it without drugs, you need to be on point in everything. Every component of your setup needs to be world class. Your scientist, your therapist, your coach, everything, your lifestyle, it's got to be so on point, because what you're trying to do naturally is fucking hard. Yeah. It's not easy to run those times naturally. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I can understand him eating his chicken and that, but I think he's probably just unhappy because he was just getting tucked in by Bolt all the time.
I mean, do you know when you're running 971 and you come second,
that's mad.
That's gotta be tough.
That's mad, because that would have won every single thing before that competition. Actually, no, I wouldn't have won 2008, but still.
And after.
Mad thing though.
Minus
2012 and 2008, he would have won everything.
He would have won.
So mad. I guess that's where we could say, would you be upset if you came second? I get that.
Yeah,
because that was a madness. That actually was a madness. I was a really big fan of Tyson Gay when I was younger. Like,
seriously?
I used to root for him a lot. I really wanted him to beat Bolt. Like, I always think, I don't see the hype in Bolt, like da, 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 da. I used to be that guy. I really liked Tyson Gay, and then obviously when everything happened with him, I kind of wasn't really a fan as much, and I kind of leant towards Bolt a bit more.
I wasn't a fan of Bolt until 2012.
Same.
2008 and 9. Because I knew about him before, but he was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, so it was kind of just, okay, cool. Yeah, this kid's quite quick. Like, he's going to do bits.
Yeah.
But to see him just taking the absolute piss out of these athletes, like, man's eased up at like 75, 80 meters, slapping his chest. I'm like, I can't watch this fool.
I was watching that race the other day, and because I was studying like some of his transition and whatnot, and I said to myself, this guy actually eased off and ran 968, and I'm training hard, and I'm thinking, I know when I run, I'm like I'm not running 9.6 right now, innit? Do you know what I mean? And I'm thinking, I'm on the accelerator right now. I think this guy just eased off and ran 9. So I said, that, like, bloody hell, like, that must have been a mad, like, what was he doing? What was he doing? That's what I think to myself. I was like, what was he doing to run that quick? I don't know. I actually don't know.
So you mentioned, like, doctor and stuff like that. How often do you see us? Because I know some coaches, like, they know everything about their athlete. Absolutely everything. Like, they almost become the doctor.
Gotta have a balance with that type of stuff.
How frequent do you see yours? And, like, do you get the regular, like, blood tests, see how you're feeling week to week and everything else? Is that something that you do, or is that a bit too in depth?
Yeah, for me, I usually just, like, when I was at British Athletics, obviously we would have like blood tests and regular screenings or whatever to check everything's okay. But for me, like, I was someone who used to see the doctor quite a lot because of niggles. So if I needed to get seen by the doctor, if my hamstring was playing up or whatever, I needed to get done, I would always see the doctor. But I think this season just gone, I think I saw the doctor 3 times.
Okay.
Just because I was getting more robust, I was having less niggles, and I'm understanding my body a lot more. So I feel like if it's part of your routine, see a doctor. But unless you're hurt, I don't think you need to see a doctor that much, to be honest. Okay. Personally. Do you know what I mean? Because then when you do something too much, you start to have a dependency on certain things. And then what happens if it's not there? What are you gonna do? Like, you're gonna feel stuck.
That's an interesting one, because what I wanted to ask you is physio before and after a session.
Yeah.
Has that become something that you depend on, or you can deal without it?
It's very interesting, because I'm basically in the transition of working without it. Okay. Because I went to Texas to train with the A&M guys and Vince Anderson in November.
Okay.
And it was so sick. It was a really good trip. It was good to get insight into what it takes on their side to do what they do. And Vince is a legend in the game, so working with him and getting his insight on what he thought of me as an athlete and things he felt I needed to work on, it was big for me. And it definitely gave me a lot of good things to work on when I come back home. But they get therapy maybe like once a week.
Okay.
Some of them can't even afford it because they're not pros. Like they're
Yeah.
pros, but they're not signed, so they can't
Yeah.
afford therapy. They do their own manual therapy. So I went like a month training at a high level with
Yeah.
no therapy,
Okay.
but I had to present for the sessions every day because like you have to, innit? You have, just train. The show must go on. You still have to train. And I was kind of like I wanted to impress him. I wanted to like, you know, I'm strong. I can hack this.
Yeah.
So I'm at home stretching. I'm doing everything, and I learned so much about my body, and I learned and figured out how far I can push my body without therapy. And for me, I'll probably say I can go about 6 weeks without it and work well.
That's really good.
That's really good. And I think it's good to create that because when you come to competitions, not everyone can afford to take therapists to competitions. So you need to work on yourself. And when you rely on therapy, I think sometimes it takes away from your session because if you're doing runs and you know a therapist is right there waiting for you, it's very easy to say, actually, this feels a bit niggly. Can I get a massage? That almost is breaking up the continuity of your session, and you might not get the best out of it. Whereas when I'm in Texas and something's feeling niggly, I'm like, well, I've got to get on with it because there's no one there and the session must go on. So I think for me, when I was younger, I used to get therapy all the time. All the time.
I feel like a lot of young
any little thing,
do it.
I'm on the bed. Massage my arm, I'm on the bed all the time. But that doesn't build character. That doesn't help you understand your body. And essentially, I don't think it helps you become independent. So it was something I felt as though, you know, if I really want to take this seriously and be in a circuit and travel across the world, I don't think I'm going to be able to afford to take. I don't think I'll be able to afford to take a therapist with me all the time. Yeah. Well, boy, I got to look after myself. So what I would say with therapy, I think people need to. I'm not saying people need to move away from it because it's subjective. Yeah. But you have to use therapy for what it's there for. If it's trackside therapy, let it be trackside therapy. Trackside therapy, really and truly, I don't think it should be more than 5 minutes. Really and truly, if it's trackside, it's an intervention to help your performance. It shouldn't be anything longer than 5 minutes, short and frequent. Or if you're gonna get a soft tissue massage or whatever, designate a day in a week to do so. But I think, getting it needlessly, I think especially in the winter, you break down the tissue that you want to be adapting. So, I think I like therapy, but in moderation, I would say.
So you appreciate it more now as opposed to...
100%. I think I find it more effective now because I use it less. But if you do something every day, after a while, the effects of it won't be as potent. But because I don't do it as much, like I'll probably get a session of therapy once a week. But after that session, I could feel the effect it's had on my body. And then I'm like, okay, now I can pinpoint what I need. This worked, that didn't work. And it just helps me streamline my performance strategies a lot better. Okay. Yeah.
Sounds good. So you said you went to Texas in November. Yeah. What was the purpose of that trip? Yeah. Because obviously you'd have had your outdoor season rest. To go to Texas in November for me sounds strange because that's so early into your new training program. So what was the reasoning behind that?
Well, for me, I remember going to Birmingham Diamond League last year after the Europeans. I was like, yep, you know, I'm gonna lay something down here. You know, I'm vexed I didn't run in the championships. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna lay something down. Went there, 10:31, and I was like, I'm done out here. I was like, I'm done. I need to chill. I'm tired, whatever. And I sat with my coach and said, you know what? Like, I want to be sitting here next year. I know we've had our first year together and everything, but I'm not on sitting here next year wondering what if, being vexed because I didn't achieve this. Like, we need to get it done next year on the real. We need to get it done. We're 2 years away from the Olympics. I know I've run 10-0, but I need more. And he was just like, you know what, maybe you should go out and see Vince. Like, go and get his expertise, go and work with him, and I think he will give you the edge that you're looking for. And with the European Indoor Championships coming up, we've got about 8 weeks from now to the European Champs. For me, I'm not trying to go there to participate. I want to go there and perform convincingly. Okay. And I said, okay, what do I need to do to make the chances of that happening as good as it can be? And I thought, you know what, step out your comfort zone, go to Texas, go and train with those guys, because it's similar programs, but the intensity is a lot different. They're more brutal in their approach. And I said, you know what, go and have a shake up, you know, maybe it might change your outlook on things and give you that edge that you want. And I went out there purely just to learn, to help my technique get better, to just to even pick his brains. The guy is so knowledgeable and so passionate. I remember when he was taking me back to the airport, it was about a 2-hour drive or something like that from College Station to Houston.
Okay.
And we were talking for so long, and the things he was telling me, I was like, man, this guy's serious, man. And yeah, I just wanted to go out there basically just to help improve myself as an athlete. Even if I didn't see the dividends of that, even this coming indoors, it's just knowledge that I just want to learn about my sport. So it was a good trip.
After that 2-hour conversation, and how long was you there for?
4 weeks.
4 weeks. Okay, so you spent a month there. That's a pretty decent amount of time to spend with a different coach.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have that? Maybe I should inquire about like moving out here to train. Did you have that, or was you still like, okay, I've got what I needed to kind of revamp myself?
Yeah.
But I know that I can still do what I need to do in England.
And this is the thing I'll say again: when people go and work with different coaches, shortly after they leave their coach and they go with that coach, I think the problem there is, okay, you went to the coach, it's all good, but know why you're doing something. So me and my coach strategized and we said, this guy's my mentor. I want you to, I feel comfortable with you going to work with him because we do a similar program. He's got my best interest and your best interest in his heart and in his mind. And I know he's going to help you get better. So the ego and the kind of like defense that my coach maybe might have had or other coaches do have when those things happen, my coach didn't have that because he knew it was to help me get better. So even if I turned around and said I want to leave, it's because I want to get better. It's not a personal thing. But we already knew what the plan was. And it was like, you're going to work with him and then you're going to come back to me. And I stuck to my plan. But I feel like a lot of people might have been like wowed by the whole thing because the facilities is amazing.
Yeah.
The weather was sick. He was sick. So a lot of people probably would have thought, man, I'm out of here. Like, I'm going to go trade with my man. But for me, I know what my plan is. And I know this is part of the bigger picture. I would go back there and like check in with him, but the trip served its purpose.
Okay.
And so it didn't make me want to think to leave.
When you went there, was that paid for by you or by your funding and everything else?
I covered that trip. It was a personal investment I wanted to make in myself. And I covered that. So luckily, covered the flight. And this is the thing with athletics, you never know what relationships you can make. Just purely through Instagram, I spoke to one of the guys who were training at the Dion Lindor. He's a Trinidad and Tobago 400-meter athlete. I think around like 44.3. Like he's a world-class athlete. And I just reached out to him and said, "Oh, bro, I'm trying to come back to Texas. Do you know anywhere I could stay or whatever?" And he was like, "Bro, come and stay with me." And I was like, "Nah." He's like he didn't even charge me or whatever. And then I stayed with him and some of the other quarter milers, and I didn't know them, but I never met them before. They were the coolest guys ever. Like they're guys who, if I see them on the circuit, see them at championships, like they're my friends. Yeah. And it made my trip a lot easier. So yeah, when things like that happen, it's like, it's kind of like fate. It's like, I know I made the right decision to go and train out here, sort of thing. Yeah. So yeah, the trip was basically, I guess, organized and sourced by me in a way. Yeah.
That's nice.
What have you
like,
got?
To be able to do that, and
really
say to yourself, you know what?
Well.
I need to do this. This isn't something that someone else is going to do for me. I'm going to do it. It's very rare that you see people that will do that because they always think, oh, but if I do this, this might happen. You just kind of said, I need this.
Yeah. No risk, no reward. That's what I say. People want to achieve things, but don't want to compromise or sacrifice things to get there. And I've been that person as well. I've kind of talked the talk and I want to be successful, but I'm still doing the same things, still having the same habits. I'm going to get the same results. So this year I kind of said to myself, you know what? I need to not change me because I'm me in it, but if I want to get different results, I need to do different things. And I think stepping out my comfort zone and going somewhere which I didn't know what it was going to present to me. Yeah. No therapy. I'm used to therapy all the time. I'm like, whoa. But, off the back of that trip, it developed my mindset and my body a lot. So I'm really happy I did it.
What about the athletes in America?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a bigger country. They've got a bigger pool to pull out athletes from. But as I've heard, it's a different atmosphere. Like people don't go there just to like, you know, train for this.
Yeah.
They have a system.
They live it,
They have something that they actually aim for. It's like the American football.
Yeah.
They play, they go through school.
Yeah.
That's their focus.
Yeah.
You know, it's different from here.
Yeah.
Well, unless you go to Loughborough's schools and college like you did, yeah. But I was that in joining them and doing what they do on a daily basis.
It was cool, and this is the thing. I think me going out there, it just broke this stigma that we all have in Great Britain, that Americans are just doing something mad different to us and they're way, way better than us and blah, blah, blah. I'm so sick and tired of hearing that shit, because it's like, you can't compare the two. You just can't, because we're a country where, like you said earlier, people join athletics when football or another sport doesn't work.
Yeah.
In America, you've got someone's dad getting them to start track from 7 years old plus, coaching them on how to do high knees. It's a different kettle of fish. You can't compare the two. You just can't. You will always lose that battle. You can't compare the two. I started track at 16.
Yeah.
And I'm going up against the man who's been doing track already for 10 years. With high school, and their high school system is lit as well. It's not a joke thing. We don't have that. What's our high school equivalent?
Oh, you look fast. Yeah, you can go do this. Oh, you look kind of big.
You look alright. You can do that. Yeah, we don't have the infrastructure to match America. And this is the kind of conversation I had with Vince, like when I was talking about the two, and he was like, you know, it's hard to compare the two because our system is different. When we come out of the juniors, we go into the real world. When they come out of the juniors, they've got the NCs, which is the best at what it does, and it has world-class performances, great. But in a way, they're shielded from the reality of pro life, so they can have 4 years to make their mistakes, to have their ups, to have their ups and their downs, and then get ready for seniors. With us, we're making those ups right in front of the public, and then you get bashed. Oh, so and so hasn't come through. So and so fell off. But mate, what do you expect us to do? We're coming out of juniors into seniors. Mate, some people straight away. Like you got Dina, it went straight away, bang. It just clicked. For other people, like myself included, it's taking a bit longer. Yeah. But that's just what's gonna happen when you don't have the structure that nurtures you up until that point. So even if so we have the issue of kind of when you leave you're good as a junior, but when you leave, you might struggle a bit or whatever. Now with them, they have the same struggle as us. It's just a bit different. Their struggle is that they're sick when they're young, but then when they come into pros, they fall off because they're no longer in that setup that they were in before. And this is the thing that happens that people don't understand with the pros. When they go to college, the setup they've got, the S&Cs, the therapy on tap, the coaching, the campus, everything, education, and I've been there. It's elite. Like it's sick. You can't fail there. If you fail there, then you're just an idiot. Like you're honestly just an idiot because it's designed for success, right? They pump millions into that stuff, so it's designed for success. But when they leave the pros, they're not the priority of the college coach anymore. The college coach is paid to coach college athletes. Yeah. So the pro guys find themselves, a lot of them train by themselves, or they've got a little assistant coach with them that maybe not that good. Yeah. The meticulousness of what they had in college is not the same. That's why they might have 1 year post or 2 years max post college, and they're still all right because they're just carrying over what they had, and then they fall completely off, and they got to go work in Walmart. It's mad. That's the difference. So people get onto Brits like you lot do it, but they've got their struggles too. The only difference is that in that time or that year post college, they might get a 10 mil plus contract because of the performances they've had. We're not going to get that. That's probably the only positive that they have. But in both countries, we both have our struggles. So they still do the same training. They still bleed the same way we bleed. They're humans, just like us. But when you put an American on a pedestal because of performances you saw in Eugene, and Eugene is an outlier place in itself because that place is just a madness. Yeah, when I went there for the World Juniors and I saw it with my own two eyes, I said, this place is mad. There's nothing. You're gonna compare Birmingham to it or Bedford? It's not the same. It's just not the same. So when you see man performing there, and you get disheartened and you think, my man's gone clear. Oh my days. But then what happens when they come to the circuit and race and they go to Europe and everything? What happens then? It's like performances are very much normal like everyone else's, and this is where it's like the two scenarios kind of meet in the pro world in Europe. Yeah, because you have the juniors we've been exposed to the pro world since we were like 18 plus. Although we might not see the rewards of it straight away, we've taken the lashings, you've taken the beatings, you've taken the lessons, and then when you get to your early 20s, okay, now I'm a contender because I've been learning and I've understood. But with them guys, it's like they had a crazy capacity of high level performance when they're young. It might drop off, but then that's when the two kind of meet, and then we kind of just see who's the best on the day, sort of thing.
Do you think it's more noticeable over here?
Yes,
because our talent pool isn't
as big. So you're gonna focus on the 16-year-old because the 25-year-old who's supposed to be doing these things isn't. So you have to look to the younger, and that's why I said before we got on air, like it's starting to change now because the depth, we're starting to get more depth now, thankfully.
Yeah, we've got.
So we don't need, although we still look at the juniors, but we're not gonna look at them to save us because we're already riding the wave right now. Like when you look at the guys, like the top 4 guys in 100. I'm the youngest out of the top 4 and I'm 22. Yeah. In previous, and I run 10:04. Like in other years, 10:1 would have been the fastest, and you had to look to the junior because the man them just weren't doing their thing. Yeah. So we got, everything goes through waves. We had a little bit of a low for the past maybe 10 years plus or whatever. Now we're gonna get back on the high. You're gonna see someone get an Olympic medal. You're gonna see someone make an Olympic final. You're gonna see someone do a madness in the next few years because we're getting the depth, and that's why it's not as noticeable now when you see juniors kind of not really doing their thing. Yeah, because we're focused on the seniors now because they're doing their thing.
I think now the teams are a lot younger as well.
Yes, like, that's the thing.
In the last few years, when you look at who's on the team, it's rare now that you're seeing
very rare
someone over the age of 30.
Yeah, it's true.
Like the main core of the team is made
the average in the relay team might even be like something like 24. The average,
that's
something like
young.
That, 24, 25, or maybe even 23. The average is getting younger, which is showing that we are bridging the gap on the Americans, the Jamaicans, and everything else. And I think it showed in the last World Championships. We had a Brit in the final in Reese, and it's gonna be more to come of that. Like me personally as a sprinter, I don't subscribe to this whole America. Like I can't disrespect America. America have produced some of the best athletes of all time. Can't dispute that. And as a sprinting nation, they have been better than us. I don't subscribe to the narrative that they're just going to be superior forever and that's that. No. Because
Jamaica already proved that.
Jamaica going through their slump now as well. So
now they're struggling.
It happened. Now they're struggling. Like it happens, and all this. Yeah, Americans are good. Yeah, but like when you break it down, they've got their own struggles as well. So I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Yeah, I hate it when British coaches and people are like, "You guys need to do what the Americans are doing, or you need to do what the Jamaicans are doing, and you guys don't work enough, and you guys don't do this." Okay, cool. But you're going to now compare a boy who's come off the road and to do athletics, and you want to chuck him into a program that man have been doing for 10 years, been injured doing that, and hardly even survive. You think I'm going to survive? How am I going to survive? When a man's been there and been struggling, how am I going to survive?
There's a lot of coaches, and
it's just an ignorant way of thinking.
For the sake of being political, I'm not going to name drop people for today, but there's still coaches kicking about now that it's like, yeah, well, when I was an Olympic athlete,
exactly.
Okay, but
times have changed. We have Mondo tracks.
How many years ago?
We have more spikes in our spikes. Things have changed.
How many athletes have you coached that have made it, but they've been hurt ever since?
Exactly. Now, you can only reference that one time that the person just about stuck their body together to perform, and that's what we want to use to reference for everyone else. And like I say, I'm not even trying to knock that way of working because people do get results that way. But I think the people who get results are those who have been in that system long enough. I had in Berlin, I shared a room with Zarno. He won the 100, yeah? Seen him in the build up and everything. And to be fair, even seeing him, I kind of knew he was going to win before the competition started, just from how I saw his demeanor and everything else. So he did his thing, a big shout out to him. But I remember talking to him and I was like, right, like, so obviously you've been in Jamaica like for God knows how long. Like, do you really think that like a Brit could go over there and be able to hack that program and actually be successful in it? And he goes, honestly, I don't really think so, because even me myself, although I'm running fast now, it's taken me about 5 years to adapt to this program. I've had mad hamstring injuries, foot injuries, knee injuries through trying to be in that program. but it's taken my body time to adjust. And now I adjusted, I'm seeing the results. But he was like, just you coming in just off of what you've been doing as well for all these years to now do a madness. He goes, I don't know if it would work. And if you look historically, how many Brits have gone over to train in the Caribbean or America and have had really, really, like, oh, I'm not saying that no one ever has, but it's not a frequent thing. That just shows you that the culture, the lifestyle, the intensity, everything is just, it's different. You can't really expect someone to go over there and be able to just acclimatize to that program off the back and be able to be crazy successful. It's not impossible, but it is a hard thing to do.
Like you said, it takes time.
Takes time. Have you got that time? Have man got that time? Really and truly.
I know for sure. I ain't got that time. I'm 27.
The Olympics is in 2 years' time. Have you got that time? This is the thing. So when coaches come out and bash Africa, oh, you guys don't train hard enough, and you don't do this, it's like,
you don't know me.
You don't know me for one. You don't know my body for one. You don't know my body history, and not only that. When you go into this onto the circuit and everything, and you see man from Great Britain dusting man out that you claim we should be doing what they are doing, but man are competing with them, beating them sometimes. Doesn't that validate what we're saying in that no, we're doing our own thing and we're taking a bit longer maybe, but we'll start as a nation. Coaches are starting to get it right. People are getting motivation from seeing other coaches, and since 2013, we've had a new person break 10 seconds every year. That should show you where we're going. Do you know what I mean? So I do get a bit annoyed when I hear like all that stuff, because it's like, mate, like we're not from there.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, you just gotta be from there, like it's just a different lifestyle, it's a different upbringing. It's not something that you can just decide in your 20s. Yeah, I want to now do that. You can try it, but it might not work. It just might not work, and I think. That's where I think we've had a new wave of young coaches coming through, and I think they've started to have results, and I think that's probably motivated the older coaches to kind of refine how they work. And I think it's just everyone's bounced off of each other, and I think that's why we're starting to see the performances that we've been seeing. Like you've got Dino, who's the fastest in the world. That should show you where British sprinting is going.
Shout out to Dino.
Yeah, for real. She's done her thing this year, so.
Donna's good.
Yeah, so it was good. So you know, she's doing her thing, and I think British sprinting is going in the right direction for sure.
I got a question for you based on meetings and stuff. As you're now top of your game, like you'll get like the Diamond League invites. Do you now kind of frown upon like the local meets, or do you still think they have their place? Because it's quite noticeable that a lot of top sprinters in the UK, they won't necessarily turn up to a meet. They'll go looking for overseas. And it's like, well, you could turn up here and still run that time. You spend all that time going overseas and get nowhere. So
I still find value in local meets. Like in 3 weeks' time, I'm going to open up in Lee Valley. In the Southerns. Like last year, I opened up at London Indoor Games, Lee Valley. And for me, I like starting on home soil. There's something, I don't know what it is, but I just like kind of starting in familiar grounds, have my coach with me. And then once I put something on the board, then I like to go abroad. But I think the main competition I guess you're talking about that has lost its place is probably the British leagues. Because a lot of people don't do it anymore. And I think the reason why, I don't think it's because people think they're too big for it or whatever. I think it's the time of year. Like they had one of them that was like the week of trials or the week before trials or the same week as like certain Diamond Leagues and certain London, that like, man, we're not going to do those competitions. We don't get paid. And this is the thing. And another thing people don't realize as well is that in a lot of people's contracts, you're not going to get paid for going to certain meets. As in, if I run 9.9 at Lee Valley, unless I file a lawsuit against my brand like, and take it all the way, they're not going to pay me for running 9.9 at Lee Valley because it's not an IAAF recognized meet. They want to see at World Challenges and Diamond Leagues and Championships running times. Why? Because that's where the brand logo is going to get seen the most. Who's going to see an Adidas logo in Lee Valley or in Bedford? You're not going to see it. So
it's understandable.
So that's another thing as well. So, and I think that's part of being, I know we're in the amateur sport for the most part, but you want to be called a professional, you've got to race in professional places. So that's why I would say you don't see a lot of people going to those meets. But, you know, for me, anyway, I can't speak on everyone else, but for me, You know, like even like my outdoor meets, I like to go to Loughborough International to start my season off because I love the vibe. I love catching up with people I haven't seen in ages. I just like that. I like the hype as well. Like, I like being around people who I know and things like that. So for me, I think there's a place for it, probably in the early parts of the season, the same way other people would open up in America and whatever. For me, open up in the UK, it makes sense before you go out to Europe.
So on a mental side, like you said, you like seeing people that you haven't seen for a while. Before a meet, what is like your process like in terms of warming up, music? If you listen to music while you're warming up, I know some people do, some people don't because they find it distracts them. When you see someone that you know you're going to be running against in like the next 40 minutes, do you ever see them and they kind of run past, you think they're looking quite quick today, but I'm going to smoke him?
For the most part, you know what the thing is with me, I'm a very chilled person. Like when I'm at training, if you see me at training, like I'm very chilled, cracking jokes. Like, cause I find, again, probably off my past experiences, I find being too intense and too serious, I don't get the best out of myself. Okay. So I'm not gonna say I'm mad chilled like a bolt. That's a bit too much. Yeah. But for me, I don't like to take the pressure off myself. I like to treat it like a normal day because on a normal day, I can chill in training and talk and run very, very fast in training. So why would I now change that process on a race day? Obviously, I get a bit more serious. My arousal levels are a bit higher. But for the most part, I like to stick to my processes. So yeah, on a race day, I just try to be calm and relaxed. And when I see other men who are hyped up and whatever, it just makes me laugh because I just think, nah, you don't need all that. We don't need to do all that today. But probably say the one time last year where I remember being at trials, and I think that probably contributed to me probably not doing well. But like, I remember going to trials and like, I was watching everyone too much, I think. I'm looking at, right, man looks quick today. Right, he looks good. Right. But I don't know what's going to happen today. There's bare of us here. Like, before you know it, I'm lost in the moment sort of thing. And then by the time I come out to race, head's gone. So on race day, I don't really watch now. I just watch myself. I don't listen to music when I train, but I listen to music on race day just to block out the noise. And I like, music gets me like fast tempo music, a good instrumental that will get me hyped up. So for me, I'm just chilled. I don't like to overdo my warm-ups. Like I'll just take it easy. Because a warm-up really for me is just to raise your blood levels. Do you know what I mean? Just to get your blood and get your body hotter. Really, truly. I don't look at it as a place to run flat out and be moving mad. It's just to get me warmer, and then I raise my levels closer and closer. And then when I get to the line to race, I'm at my highest point of intensity, of looseness, of everything else, and I'm just like an incline in a way. So that's kind of how I look at my days.
In your pre-race warm-up, or time to raise your blood levels, as you called it, is there anything in particular that you would work on? Because I know, like, traditionally you see people maybe working on their starts. They're doing 1,000,001 build-ups. What's your thing? Is it 1 or 2 build-ups? Is it maybe just coming out of blocks?
So for me, I'll do like strides after my drills. I'll do some light strides just to work on my rhythm. For me, it's a lot being rhythmical. I'll do a few blocks after like 20. I don't feel like I need to go any further than that because I know what I'm doing the rest of it. And I feel like if I'm going too far, I'm burning myself out a bit too much. I think in the past I've done too much in warm-up, and I probably raced before I've even got out on the track. And I'm looking at other men, they're just striding. But then when they come to the race, they've got mad energy. So I've been watching people over the years, and I've started to clock the little tricks and things. I'm like, right, okay, he ain't doing that much because he's gonna save himself. So I need to find a way of getting switched on without tiring myself. So I'll do like block starts to 20, maybe like 2. Then in between, maybe say a semi and a final, or between round 1 and the final, whatever it is, I'll just do strides in my flats. I won't do much. And if I put my spikes on, I sit in blocks. Like I'll just get in the blocks and I'll just sit, and then go into set, and I'll come out and walk out. Just to familiarize myself with the feeling. And then I'll go and race. Because by that point, say if we've got 45 minutes in between or an hour, you're not changing nothing. Nothing's going to change. What you brought that day is what's here that day. All your job is to do is just keep yourself ticking over. And trust that in the race, you'll get it done. So I used to force it, but I don't like forcing it.
Have you ever had that where you do something in warm-up and it feels perfect, and then you go on the line and it's like, oh, this leg doesn't feel like it's in the right position, or I don't feel comfortable in the set position?
I did that indoor trials this year. Like I remember going in there, as like one of the favorites, I think, to win. And I remember being a warm-up area, and because I guess in hindsight I look at it as insecurities of not being sure if I was going to win. I was trying to do too much in the warm-up, and I remember running, but I was winging, like I was moving, but too much. I did a flying run, and I was moving so much to the point that I aggravated my calf in the warm-up. So, and this is kind of like so that's like the beginning, and it kind of had the spiral effect ended up being in me full starting, but it started from wanting to overdo it. I was overdoing it, then my calf started hurting, then we get out there, I'm distracted now because of my calf, then I get in the blocks, I don't feel comfortable because I'm thinking, I'm about to pull my calf, now I'm trying to get out to avoid pushing, then I full start. So I've seen the consequences of, you know, up a warm up, like you've got to. Oh, almost got cramp there.
Come on now.
I was like, yo.
Can somebody get me a physio? We need some assistance inside here at the moment.
Christ. I've learned my lessons of overdoing warm ups. Like, you just gotta chill, man. Trust that it's there. You gotta trust it's there. That's literally it.
Yeah, because like I've started coaching myself now, and like you do. Yeah. And my first experience as a coach in the national level, and there's a lot of coaches that were coaching, like they were literally just giving instructions constantly before was supposed to compete, like an hour before the race, and I was like, you know, wouldn't that put more pressure on you? You know, have you ever had that before where you just think like, you know, I don't think I can handle this.
It's interesting because like, and it's a good point you said, because this is kind of part of the things I've had as old habits that I'm trying to like move away from now. And like, really and truly, I think up until 24 hours before the race, you could do all the technical stuff you want. You can talk to your athlete, you could tell them this, you could tell them that, make sure you do this. But when it's 24 hours out from the race, a day before, we stop talking, me and my coach, we stop talking about the race. And I move into a place of being instinctive, because that's what racing is. It's being instinctive. It's just like you're responding to what's around you, and you're trying to compete and win. Yeah. You can't win whilst thinking. Have you ever tried to run and think at the same time? You know how slow it is? It doesn't work. So when you're running, you need to go into autopilot. And I think the job of the coach is to just be there for the athlete to have familiarity, to feel comfortable in their settings. Yeah. And that's the job of the coach. Now, if they've done something in between the rounds, you can give them a few pointers, but even then, one or two things. It shouldn't be something to the point where an athlete feels like they've got an equation they need to solve. I remember, like, before racing, I'd have about 15 or 16 things I would tell myself. Honestly, I had it written down. I had, get into set with good pressure, then exit from the blocks with power, then work on the first step, then your transition, and this and that. And I remember I showed my coach my book I had, and he was like, "Are you mad? Like, do you know how much things you have here? How do you expect to do all those things correctly whilst competing against another man who's trying to rip your head off and win?" Myth. It never worked to me. So now I literally just have about two things I tell myself: push and step down. That's all I tell myself, and it works for me because I can have a technical part in my brain. I used to think about what I need to work on to do well in a race, and the rest of it is instinctive and being a competitor and being kind of like, you know, boyish in the way I'm trying to perform. Like, I'm here to do my thing, sort of thing. I have space now to allow that side of me to come out in a race, rather than this tactical, technical side that essentially makes me slower.
Okay.
So that's what I would say with that. Like, all that talking stuff, there's nothing you can. The fate of your athlete is decided when he probably woke up that day. Nothing you're gonna say is gonna change it. Yeah. However he woke up or she woke up coming into that day, that's what they're gonna get. Gonna be you just roll with it. You can't change it then. It's too late. Before you can try to, but even then, it even stems back to what you're doing in the winter. If you're consistently teaching your athlete a certain movement pattern, that's what they'll refer to on a race day. If you taught them the right thing, that's what they'll refer to. If they've learned the wrong thing and they've got bad habits, under pressure, that's what they're going to refer to. So I think the coaching is done when it's time to coach. When it's time to race, it's not time to coach.
Because obviously that's what parents don't understand, and your athletes as well. Because some athletes will come and they'll say, "Oh, that coach is telling her to do this. He's all over it." why are you not doing that for me? And I was like, you already know this.
You've got to move the athletes into being independent.
You've worked towards this. There's no...
It's only them that's going to stand on the line. It's not going to be you.
Yeah.
You can coach them as much as you want. You can even walk them to the call room. But once they're in the call room, that's when the real stuff begins.
Yeah, that's when the silence.
And onto the track. It's just them. It's just them. So I think one thing that my coach is teaching me quite a lot is to be independent, to not rely on him, and to go with my instincts and understand what I need to do to perform. That way, I'm in control of what I'm doing.
And you learn better that way.
And I learn better that way. So that's something I've had. I used to be very coach dependent. Like I would wait hand on foot to get feedback from a coach. But as time goes on, I realized the person with the answers is not the coach. I think the person with the answers is the athlete. And I think the coach basically gives the athlete the opportunity to realize that for themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because in a way, a coach is giving you advice really and truly. You don't even have to listen. A coach is advising you really and truly. And I think it's the athlete's job to process what the coach is telling them and figure out that equation themselves. Do you know what I mean? I think when it comes to the point where it's too coach-led, who's really at the forefront of this? It's the athlete. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of how I see it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you started making noise a few years ago.
Yeah.
Still making noise now.
Yeah.
Sponsorship comes knocking.
Yeah.
What was that transition like? Because when that happens, it's like, oh my God, I've actually made it. I've got someone who's willing to pay me
to do what I love.
To do what I love, represent them, and all I have to do is do what I love. How did that change everything for you? Because now you ain't got to worry about where your next kit's coming from.
Yeah, true.
Where potentially your next meal is coming from. Like, how did all of that stuff
It was a big blessing,
impact?
to be honest with you. Like when I tell people, like, where I'm coming from, like, it was a grind. Like, obviously, my parents did what they could for me when I was growing up, but I'm not a rich kid. I'm not coming from the hills or, coming from a mad background. Like, I had to grind. Like, athletics for me wasn't a hobby. Athletics was like, this is going to be, I think, my way out. This is going to be my way to create something for myself because, I'd like to think I'm an intelligent guy, but I'm not the smartest person out there.
Okay.
I knew that physically I was gifted and God's given me an opportunity to do athletics. This is going to be my way to make income. This could be my way to kind of put a message out there to inspire people and everything else.
Yeah.
Like, so I looked at it like, bro, this is my way out. And I remember having the same outfit to go to training to the point where the black hoodies turning silver. Like, same trainers begging other people, yo, are you got any spikes? You're not using no more. Can I have the spikes? Like, I went World Youth in spikes that someone else gave me. People didn't even clock this. Like I was coming from a mad place. So I remember when the first time I ever got offered a contract was after the World Youth and from Nike. But what it offered me was, it weren't worth me signing myself off for what I knew I was going to achieve the next year.
So who are you sponsored by?
I'm sponsored by Adidas and that right now.
Okay,
and that's
cool.
that's who I've always been sponsored by.
How long have you been with Adidas?
Going on my 4th year with them now.
4th year?
Yeah, I'm going on my 4th year,
cool.
which has been a blessing, to be fair. But yeah, I remember like Adidas coming in. I remember this after I ran 10-1, and it was a very hectic time. And I remember getting the deal. And I remember obviously when we finalized the deal and what I was getting signed for, I just remember going back home. Like, well, not home. I went to college and I was living with one of my boys, and I was like, yo, like, I just got this deal, I was like, we lit, baby, we lit. It was sick. So
can you specify a few points of what Adidas has required from you?
Okay, it's simple, really and truly. Just wear our kit, and if you're quit wearing other kit, then the contract's terminated.
So is that actually a thing?
No, yeah. Like, obviously, if I'm wearing Nike, like, that's mad.
Wait, so on a personal level, if you're like
going if I'm wearing off-white Nike Prestos, I'm in trouble.
Seriously?
100%.
So you couldn't go to the shop in some trainers you've bought yourself?
No. Like, either, like, this is the thing. Like, I know there's been situations of athletes I know before where they've worn, like, they've moved brand from somewhere else, but maybe let's say for argument's sake, they were waiting on kit from the new brand they signed to, and they were still wearing the old kit or whatever. Yeah. I know cases where someone's taken a picture of them in that kit they shouldn't be in and sent it to someone in the brand. and basically snitched on them. And they've got in trouble. They didn't get their contract taken off them. But people are spiteful out here is what I'm trying to say, innit? Like, people will go to that point. But for me, like, if a brand's paying you a lot of money to wear their clothes. Like, it's not a problem. And it's free. But the only problem I had was that when I first, like, I didn't love Adidas per se when I first, like, I was always a Nike guy, innit?
Everyone's always Nike.
So when Adidas came in, it's just because of the money they offered. I was like, yeah, man, I know I love Nike, but I gotta go where the bag is at right now.
Yeah.
So I went with them, and I didn't know anything about the shoes. I just knew about like the Stan Smiths, and that was all I knew, really and truly.
Yeah.
So I was buying like foreign shoes. I was buying Valentinos or Gucci's or whatever. That's what I would wear. So if I'm not in Adidas, that's what I'd be in, innit? But
okay.
Recently, Adidas have been bringing out some fire. So I just found myself wearing Adidas, and I don't mind wearing it. But yeah, like if you was with a brand and then you wore another brand, maybe you're just probably trying to get at that deal. Like, that's probably the only thing I can think of you doing that.
All right, so I've got a question here because British Athletics is sponsored by Nike.
Yeah.
But you're sponsored by Adidas.
Yeah.
So
a lot of problems.
On a world championship level,
yeah,
you've got two things, because you've got your spikes that you could wear or the spikes that they're providing you with.
Oh no, that's fine.
How do you kind of get away with that?
Yeah, when it comes to spikes, that's fine. Like, obviously they can't tell you what spikes. You can wear whatever spikes you want, that's fine. But like, obviously when you're at championships and the brand is okay with this, you have to wear Nike because you're at a Team GB competition. Like, but when it comes to like diamond leagues or not major championships, so like say we have a relay to run at anniversary games, Adidas wouldn't want me to wear GB per se because it's like, what's not a major chance? Why are you wearing it?
Yeah.
And I'm getting stressed because I'm like, well, these guys tell me I've got to wear national kit. And I'm like, well, if I don't run, then it might mess up my chances of running a relay later on. But then if I do run, then Adidas might get vexed with me. So I'm like, you know what? I call my agent like, yo, I beg you deal with this because I can't be bothered.
Okay.
Like, it's not my job really to be bothered about that. I'm here to run. I shouldn't be worried about the logistics. But there's been times at championships, like junior championships, where I was wearing Adidas socks and I had to take them off because I was at a GB competition. Like, I had to take them off and wear Nike on. So they really do get on you because I think they get fined or something like that. Like GB do, like when someone's not wearing Nike at championships, like that's a serious. When there's a lot of money involved, it's serious. So you just gotta wear the brand, really. But
that's tough.
I don't mind. I like the kit, so I don't mind.
That's tough though, because it puts you in a position where, like you said, you're
very
having to deal with two different things.
Yeah, very conflicting for sure.
But at the moment, have you incurred any fines?
No. I'm a good boy, man. I'm a good boy. Like, for me to get fined by the brand is pretty mad. Like, if I was to do that, that basically means OJ trying to get out of his deal.
Yeah.
Like, OJ trying to do something on purpose to make the brand let go of him because he wants to do something else. But even then, I think like ruining relationships and just getting a bad reputation, there's no need for that. So I personally wouldn't do it. Like, I actually like Adidas clothes quite a lot. So
yeah,
like I'll be wearing Adidas original stuff all the time. So I don't mind really.
So you're sponsored by Adidas.
Yeah.
They effectively help with your training, physio,
for sure,
etc., etc.
Yeah.
What's that exposure like? Because you could just be walking, bang, your face is there on a billboard or something.
Yeah.
What's that like? Like, have you been in the streets and someone said, "Oh my God, you're OJ, like you run for Great Britain"?
Do you know what? Yeah, it's not even like we gotta remember what sport we're in. We're in athletics, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it's not really like that to the point where someone's gonna say yo, like unless you were doing something on a world stage consistently where everyone was always seeing on BBC or whatever, and it was on the news and you was on social media outlets and your name was just ringing. Like, I'm sure Dina probably gets stopped in the street or Mo, all them household names. But for me, I had the opportunity to be on an Adidas, like a big flipping, what did you call it? Like a big poster or whatever in like one of the stores. And I remember like people going there and like taking pictures of it and sending it to me and stuff. And that was pretty sick. I remember when they were done with it in the store, they sent it to my house. I just had it in my room, so that was pretty lit. But yeah, like people, like I've been stopped before. I actually have, but like very random. Like at times where I thought I wouldn't be stopped, I've been stopped by people and been like, "Yo, like you do tracking it, like keep doing what you're doing, or whatever." But never really, like I said, the coverage and the exposure we get in our sport, it's not really to the point where someone would stop you on the street and say, "Yo, I know you, that's sick." Like our sport's not is that big to the point where that would happen.
Like you can go to the underground.
You can go in the underground and be fine. Like, no one's gonna know you. Like you know them athletes. Them athletes are like, no, I can't really go out when they get seen. I'm thinking, bro, no one knows you.
But see,
no one knows you.
This is interesting because I look at track and field. I mean, I'm a massive fan. I've been watching it for a long time, and I've got a lot of friends in track and field. But to me, you're just regular people.
Really
but obviously, to other people, you're superstars.
Okay, yeah, true. So, but what I do get is a lot of young kids, and this is what I do get a good sense of like satisfaction from. It's like when you see young people reaching out to you for advice and saying, you know, you're my hero and you're my role model and things like that. Like I get Instagram messages all the time, and that does make me feel good because sometimes, you know, when you're performing and maybe it's not going well, you think, raw man, this ain't going well, whatever. But then when you get messages like that, you think, you know what? Although I'm not where I want to be yet, I'm still having the power to have a positive impact on someone else's life. Yeah. And someone, you know, might have seen my story because I'm very vocal with my journey and where I've been. And if someone's looking at that and saying, raw, you know what? I'm kind of in that position right now, and he's managed to go to the Olympics and he's managed to become a good sprinter. I think I can do it too. Even if that's all I did in track, I think that I'd be pretty proud of that. Do you know what I mean? Like reaching people. I've always said to people as well, like, I'm not trying to be famous. I don't want fame from track. I do track because I love it and I want to get paid from track. Let's be real. I want to get paid.
It's your job. So.
I don't want to be, I get fame comes with it. I do get that, but I'm not, you get certain athletes out there who, you know, they're doing the most for the gram and every chance they get, they want to be melodramatic about stuff just to get the clout and get the, and you know what? Kudos to you, do your thing. But for me, I'm not here for that. I'm here to run fast because I love the sport. I want to be the fastest, and whatever comes with that, obviously I'll take it. But like I said, I'm not trying to be famous. So if someone don't stop me on the street, like I feel indifferent. I don't really care, to be honest.
So just on a side, we said like being inspiration to people. Yeah. That helps you get out of bed in the morning.
100%.
Going through those tough times where training's not saying so much, and you start thinking, I'm not saying so much. But the fact that someone's then reached out to you and said, look, you're my role model and I hope you do really well. Yeah. That keeps you going.
No, it fully does, man. Like I remember like in the summer when I wasn't really feeling that good, like around the times of Europeans and not getting selected and whatnot. And I was just down on myself. And I remember getting like messages from people like, yo, you've had a sick year this year, like da-da-da-da-da. Loads of messages like that, like you're inspiring me and all this stuff. Like it did, I'm not saying it fully got me out of that. Obviously I was still pissed, but yeah, like it was encouraging for sure. Like when people tell you, you know what, tell me, sorry, you know what, I feel like, you know, you're up next, man, or, you know, I see you got the potential to be better than these guys and whatever it is they say. Yeah. Like, it is encouraging to hear it from someone else. Because when you hear it from people you know, it's like, you're just saying that.
Yeah, you're my friend.
You like me.
You have to.
Of course you're going to tell me I could be the best. Yeah, you should have. If you didn't tell me I could be the best, I'm going to drop you out because you should be telling me that really and truly. But when someone random who doesn't need to tell me that says it, I'm like, you know what? That does, maybe that's like, what's that? What's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember the word I'm looking for. But, you know, it's encouraging. That's let me just say that.
Because I like, based on the exposure side of things as well, I remember you coming up and quite early on it was like, this kid could be the next Usain Bolt. Yeah. Like I remember hearing that quite a few times, and for me,
and I still can.
For me, I'm like, yo, like that's good that you can relate him to someone, but what's that doing to him as a person? Yeah. Like that's a lot of stress to put on someone, because this guy's gone and done X amount of things in his career. This kid's just starting out and you're putting all these expectations on him. How did you manage to deal with that?
Well, I guess...
and you're still quite young as well, so...
Well, I guess the answer to that is that I didn't deal with it. That's the truth of it. Like, I think because my transition was so rapid into being nothing to a bit of something, I think, it changed me, not for the worst, but like... I don't know, I think a lot of me got quite entitled. Not in an arrogant way, but in I should be on this level because I did this when I was this age. Yeah. But it didn't mean anything. Like, and I think when you have so many people telling you how great you are, telling you how great you're gonna be, telling you you're gonna run these times, even though really and truly, I can now say this, the work I was doing them years, it weren't gonna it weren't going to validate the times that people were telling me I could run.
Yeah.
The way I'm working now and the way I was working then, I had no business shouting the times I wanted to run when I was that age, because I had a lot of maturing physically and mentally to do.
Okay.
What business have I got shouting these times out? But when people are doing that, it makes you get a bit complacent, I think. It makes you feel as though it's going to happen, just a matter of when. And I think when you get into that mindset, you almost wait for that moment to come rather than getting after it and continually working on your craft and getting better. So for me, I guess you kind of have, when someone tells you stuff like that, I think you kind of have about 2 years to live up to that hype before people start saying, actually, yeah, he ain't it. Do you know what I mean? It's sometimes even less. Yeah. And then when it kind of came to the point where people are actually maybe he wasn't what we thought. Well, people start treating you a bit differently. People start talking of you a bit ill. People who you're looking at thinking, you're not on my level. Then it's like they're talking about you like, any guy. I'm like, huh? When did we get here? We're like, when did we get here? And then you start to see people go past you and run faster and get opportunities that you thought you were going to have. That is difficult to deal with, because unless you're mentally strong, being a good junior and then transitioning to being a good senior, you won't make it if you're not mentally strong. I wasn't strong, and I think if I didn't make the move of coaches and I didn't change something, I probably would have. It would have been a wrap. Yeah, you know what I mean. Not a rap as in I would have quit track, but I think I would have just become. Don't want to say someone's name, but I think I would have become, a has-been. Yeah, 100%. And the thing is that I know how good I can be. Do you know what I mean? No one should really know how good I could be more than me. But I think it kind of started from me having this overconfident view of what I thought I was, because of the results I was getting. I was getting on track and just beating everyone. And then going from that to like, now you're losing confidence because you're not doing what you used to do when you were younger. That transition is very tough.
But you've definitely got the potential there. Like you said, depending on how things go, this season could be the best season. It could be another learning season.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, from the time you've been able to creep into the sub 10, you're already saying, right, I've done this now. My body knows what it feels like. I just need to
go and do that again. For sure. For sure.
It's already there. Like you've already done all the work. We know.
And the thing is, I'm very grateful in the sense of, what I classed as my failures or shortcomings, a lot of people would have classed as a fantastic year for themselves. So when I was a junior winning the European Juniors, I looked at that as, I wish I went to Beijing. My man was like in Beijing. That's how over I was too far. I was going too far ahead. I should have just stayed in the present and appreciated being young. I was trying to be too much too soon. Yeah, I was like, I should have been in Beijing. Why am I not in Beijing? So when I'm in the room with the girls and I'm like, I'm not even happy I won. They're like, what? You just won a European Championships. How are you not happy? I'm like, man, I wanted more. And then, okay, going to the Olympics was sick, because that was something I did not think that was going to happen for me. But then 2017, winning the European Junior Championships, I weren't happy, because I didn't look at it as a good year because I didn't go to London. Yeah, I was like, man, I've already improved 400s. I should have run faster. Like, but all of those things I'm naming, even this season, running 10-0, but then maybe I came up short. But some people would have said, this is an amazing year for me. I looked at that as, no, because I know what I can do. I know the potential I've shown when I was young, and I know what I can come. And I think people who know me know what I can do. People who, if you're smart, you wouldn't write me off if you're smart. Yeah. Because I think if you write me off, then okay, that's fine. But I think if you're smart, you wouldn't, because you can see the potential there. I think I've just had a lot of missed kind of opportunities and come up short in a few occasions, or maybe I messed up here, fucked up here. Okay, cool, whatever. But eventually I'm going to get it right. And when I get it right, it's going to be big. So yeah, I think, for me, I kind of just like take it in my stride.
Like I said, you've already gone sub 10.
Yeah. I even forgot about that.
Albeit a windy time. At least it's up on power of 10 now.
You know what? Yeah, it's something I can say in my life. I've done it.
You've done it.
And for me,
and that's good.
Yeah,
that's great.
Good. It's
like
good.
Any person.
Feeling? Like,
it was mad.
Was it like, when you finished running with it, was it like, oh, I don't know, what was that?
Well, when I actually finished the race, there wasn't the clock was stopping slower.
Okay.
So when I ran, it stopped at 10-1 initially. But for me, I thought 10-1 for open, that's still calm. Then the results came up and I saw 9.99 for the first round, and I was like,
tough, innit?
I saw 4 points off and 5 points off or whatever it was, and I was like, I didn't even care about the win. I said, I just ran under 10 seconds. I was like, nah. I was gassed, too gassed, because the second round I got my ass beat. In the second round I was too excited, because I think I could probably go to run 9.8 in the second round, because I got left in the blocks in the final because I was too, you know, when you get overexcited, you're thinking next round it's going to be a breeze. I switched off. And I got left.
Off there, you're like, okay, I can do this now.
I can do this now. I'm gonna do this. My head just went everywhere. So I should have calmed down and been a bit less excited. But it probably could have been a 9.8, it got away from me, but it is what it is. But that was fun, and obviously going with 9.9. I think they said I was the second Brit in history behind Linford in all conditions to run sub 10 twice in a day or something like that, which is like,
again, that's a massive
which is a good achievement in itself. Like. Which is good, but for me, all these little things like running sub 10 windy and these stats, they're all secondary. For me, I want to be number one. I want to run sub 10 legally. I want to, do you know what I mean? I want to step up and do it properly, get the medals. Like everything else to me is just showing me this is just indicators of things to come. That's how I look at it. I look at everything that's happening right now. It's just indications of something to come in the future.
So I'm guessing your main target for now will be 2020.
Yeah, that's the main. Although we're in 2019 and we've got the World Championships to negotiate, my mind is in 2019 and 2020 in a sense that I do want to perform well this year, but like it's a platform for next year. So the first thing I need to start doing is making an individual in the 100 meters. That's something I failed to do. I haven't done that yet. Okay. We can't talk about Olympic final if you can't do that. Do that first. Run under 10 seconds. You're not going to make the Olympic final if you can't run under 10 seconds. Run under 10 seconds. You know what I mean? Win a British Championships, medal at top 2 in the British Championships. Start to get into the habit of doing those things regularly. That's what I'm going to use 2019 for. It's a platform. And then next year, I can sit with my coach and say, I wanted to make an Olympic final. And it's not going to be a thing where, this guy's chatting shit, man, like, shut up. It's not going to be that. It's going to be, actually, okay, how are we going to get this done? That's what I'm about right now. So, 2020 is the big goal. And I honestly couldn't care. In a way, I say I don't care. Of course I care, but whatever happens up until that point is secondary. As long as it teaches me the lessons and everything else to get to the point where I can make an Olympic final. Yeah, that's all I care about. And even if I get to Tokyo and I come up short, then guess what? In Eugene year after that, I'll make a final there. Like what these years have taught me is that, listen, okay, I might have come up short, but you know, it might be delayed, but it's not going to be denied from me. That's how I look at it. Like, I'm going to get it at some point.
It's a good way
to look at it. I'm going to get it at some point.
You're only 22.
I know. So I know I'm talking like I'm 30.
So
but I've got time. I've still got time.
You've got at least, two more Olympics?
2 more cycles, potentially 2 more cycles.
And I'm talking after Tokyo.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Yeah.
3 or 4 world championships, European championships. You've got so much
I've got so much to look forward to. You're right.
It's crazy to think that you're so mature at 22 and you've got all these plans, and it's like someone would think, oh, this is like an older guy. And I'm like, this is a young man who has a long time to achieve what he wants.
But a lot of people tell me that. They just say, listen, you need to be just enjoy being young. But I think where I've immersed myself so much in track, like I've just kind of just been thinking beyond my years in a way. So sometimes I've got to bring myself back down and say, listen, you're 22, relax. But I guess it's hard to say I'm 22 when in the same breath there's other people who are 22 who are running 9.7, running 9.8, running 9.9, winning this champs and that. So I never try to use that as an excuse to kind of as a cushion to fall on and say, but I'm only 22. Yeah, but the next guy's even 21, even 20. So I never like to use age as like a cushion to say, oh no, I've got time. I know I've got time, but in the same breath, you can sometimes that can be negative as well, because when you keep saying I've got time, then the moment never comes. You create the moment.
It gets a bit further away.
It gets a bit further away. Like the moment is not. There's no such thing as the moment. You create it. It doesn't just happen. So in saying I'm young, you're waiting for the moment when you're older.
Yeah.
For all you know, that moment could be now. And I've seen a lot of people just grasp the moment there and then, and they've catapulted themselves into stardom and into a world-class field. And I look at it and I say, you know what? There's no point waiting. The time is now. If you're ready now, do it now. Yeah. Because you don't know where you could be next year.
Can't be afraid to pull the trigger,
You can't be afraid. And the best sprinters, you watch them in a race, they know when to pull the trigger. You see them. If it's either at the start, it's at the end, it's in the middle, they know when to pull the trigger and they don't hesitate with it. And that's another conversation. But
when is yours?
I'm trying to make it be the whole thing, to be honest. But, you know, I guess I've been known for the trigger being at the end. But I think the way my techniques changed a lot this year, even in training, like I've just been developing everything even more. Like I said, I've been in my second season of my coach. I'm just improving a lot more. And I feel like right now, the trigger is probably, like, I guess, in the middle point in the race, but it could be at the start, it could be at the end, it could be in the middle, it could be anywhere. I'm trying to get myself to the point where I want to be a complete sprinter, have a start, have a finish, have a middle. I don't want to be someone who just has a finish or just has a start, because essentially you have a limiting factor, which is the opposite end of the race. I want to be someone who's got, you know, a good race across the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing.
Yeah, you guys will see it soon
in
anyway.
A few weeks, and in a few months. I look forward to seeing it. 100%. So, on a lighter note, like outside of track, what do you do? What do you get up to?
For the most part, I'm chilling. If I'm not with the missus, I'm chilling. If I'm not with her, if I'm not training, then I'm at my mum's or with my friends. Because I'm always training full time and like my friends are working, I don't always get to see them a lot. But when I can, we'll always link up, go do something, go out, go eat or whatever. So I'm quite a social person in that sense, I'll say. And if I'm not doing that, I'm just at home banging out FIFA. Or I'm into videography quite a lot.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm trying to take that a bit more seriously in 2019. I feel like I kind of just want to get this. I don't know when I'm waiting. Like I said earlier, there's no such thing as the perfect moment. But you know, I'm trying to fit that in at some point. But I really want to start working on that.
Like I said earlier, it's a balance. It doesn't have to be 50-50. It could be 60-40 or 70-30.
For sure.
So once you've got that balance,
you're right.
Everything's gonna fall into place.
Nah, it's true. But outside of the track, I just try to. It doesn't really matter what I'm doing as long as I'm having time to switch off from the intensity of training. I could be doing anything, you know? So that's something I've learned over the years, just knowing when to switch off.
Is there any like guilty pleasures, like TV programs that you indulge in, or foods that you kind of say, I shouldn't have this today, but
no, to be fair, with TV programs, to be fair, I watch anything. So I won't really have got any like bad shows I watch or anything like that. But when it comes to food, this is the first time I'm saying this. So you guys are getting exclusive, There's a dessert place near mine, called Cakes and Shakes.
Cakes and Shakes, I know it quite well. I know it maybe a bit too well.
And it's on Uber Eats, and I'm not gonna lie, like sometimes after I've had dinner and I'm just chilling, I'll just go on the app and I'll get a chocolate cake and custard and I just eat
it up a little bit.
And sometimes I get two, like I'm even a bit mad, but so that's my guilty pleasure. Sometimes I just have a chocolate cake when I know I shouldn't be, but you know, healthy diet and all that. But that's my guilty pleasure.
So do you kind of like tweak your missus into getting that as well?
I'll be like, listen, like you've worked hard this week, like you deserve some cake. And then she'll be like, you know what, I do. And I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna just get two. And then she'll be like, all right, cool. So sometimes we got battles with that. But like I said, like you can't eat healthy like all the time. Like sometimes sometimes in the weekend, you can afford to have a little cheat meal. Like that's more realistic to me. I wouldn't come on this platform and start telling you guys, listen, make sure you eat healthy, guys. You know, health is wealth. I get it. It is healthy. Yeah, cool. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you something that I don't actually do daily. Like sometimes I eat cake, innit? Like it happens. Sometimes I eat cake. Like is what it is.
It is what it is. So like with your friends and social life, you said that you don't get to see them as much. Do you end up seeing like the friends on the circuit a lot more, or?
Yeah, like especially in my old group anyway, like because I was around them like every day, they ended up becoming like my close friends because that's the people who I was going on training camps with, who I'm with. And the thing is, like when you're, especially with sport, but track as well, like the people that you're with in training, you're probably with them the most out of everyone because you probably see them more than you see your actual family. So they sometimes end up becoming your close friends that if you guys get along. So in my old group, like we ended up just being a whole big group anyway, just because we trained with each other all the time and we had the same things in common. So we just ended up becoming close anyway. So more time, I'd probably be around them guys more. But I guess as I've gotten older, I kind of just enjoy my own company a lot more now as well. I'm kind of learning to just chill by myself and just like be cool with that. Do you know what I mean? So
Well, like you said, you got FIFA there, so
just FIFA. I go online, Ultimate Team, and that's just me.
I can't play PlayStation and have someone there talking.
Yeah,
to
it's
me.
mad.
I can't do it. I have to be alone to do this.
The craziest thing is every time I'm playing FIFA and I'm texting my girl on the phone to her, she knows when I'm playing FIFA. Because the replies become very basic. The words are not spelled correctly. I'm typing it very quick. Okay, putting I in that. Like, I'm not spelling it correctly and all that. So she knows. She'll be like, "You're on FIFA, innit?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "Yeah, you are." So I'm not good at multitasking them two things at all. Literally,
I'm not a good multitasker at all. I can't say that I can do these things confidently. Something just has to get put to the side, and it's generally the more important thing. I'm like, I'm gonna put that there for now. Because this is what's important right now.
For real, you're right. No, you're right.
So like we've seen your video. Like people said, was it last week or like earlier this week?
Which video are you talking about?
The vlog.
Okay.
The style of the vlog.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I said, that was quite good.
Yeah.
And is that something you've learned yourself, or was it just through like school? You just kind of like
people
busy with?
People ask me this all the time on Instagram. Yo, like, what software are you using for your videos? Blah blah blah. Yeah. Like, I use my phone. Like, I play around with apps, and obviously I take inspiration from maybe seeing other people who I'm into, or musicians, music videos or whatever, and I get a vibe for what I like, and I just try to recreate it my own way. Yeah. So like I said, now I'm trying to take it a bit seriously. Like, I got myself a MacBook in the summer. I got myself a couple cameras, and I'm trying to like take it a bit more seriously. But honestly, I just use my phone. Like, people be surprised like what I can make with the most basic of footage. Do you know what I mean? Like, so that, I guess with my Instagram, I try to be a bit different. Like, for me, I'm trying to create a balance between like, yeah, I'm a professional sports person, but the culture I'm coming from and what I've grew up on, that's what I'm going to show you in how I portray myself in the sport I'm in. So, you know, I'm not going to be the person who's giving you the clean cut videos and got my media voice on. Like, that's just not really going to be me all the time. Like, and on my Instagram, that's my platform, I guess, to show me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like these days people will get to know you on social media before they even see you in person anyway.
Yeah.
So every chance I get, I try to plug myself the way I'd want to be represented, and that's it.
So what's your friendship like with the rest of the guys you compete with for a place in the championships? And
it's all right. I think, like we keep saying, everything is about balance, and I think that's something that I've had to figure out as time's gone on. How do you have a balance between being friends with people but understanding when it's time to go, you're gonna chop a man up when it's time to race? That's the difference that I don't think I really had, because I'm so cool with everyone and friendly. When it came to race day, I'm still being friendly with everyone, but they're in killer mode. Yeah. And I'm still there like, yo, what's going on, bro? And they're like,
I'm gonna chop off your neck.
And they're like, I'm gonna chop off your neck today. And I'm just there chilling, like happy-go-lucky and coming up short. So I guess as time's gone on, I'm trying to get a balance between, you know, being cool with people, but understanding when it's race day, I don't know you. And I want to be better than you today. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But for me, like I said, I think that way when it comes to race day, but on a regular basis, I'm cool. Like, I'm not, although, yeah, I guess the elephant in the room is, yeah, we do have to compete against each other. Yeah, someone's going to miss out. We get it. But I don't, personally for me, I know other athletes do that, and some people are tasteful, some people are distasteful in how they do it. But for me, I know how to separate the two. If I see you at the track, if I see you out in the event, I'm going to show you love and treat you how I want you to treat me. But when it comes to race day, you know, for sure, it's go time. And I guess that's something I've tried to learn over time.
Okay, that sounds good. So, on a bit more serious note now, what do you think the sport could do differently to push themselves? And what do you think that the IAAF does well for the sport? Because that's basically the be-all and end-all of athletics. That's the main thing.
For me, I think I would say, like, the best way to say it is if I talk about other sports as well, because I don't want to bash athletics and say we don't do anything, because there are good points to it, and this is what I love. Look at basketball, look at American football, look at tennis, look at boxing, look at UFC, list goes on. Look at how those sports are marketed. And ask yourself what athletics doesn't have that those sports have. We've got different events, we've got different personalities, different body shapes, different ethnicities, so many things that you could delve into to push and promote an event to draw public attention. In boxing, you've only got 2 people fighting. In the grand scheme of things, how entertaining is that as opposed to like a 3-hour event of so much going on, intense competition, blah, blah, blah. But that gets pushed well because of how they market it. And I think the thing is like, I know people talk about, but because I talk to so many people about this. I talk to people within the BBC, within different outlets with influence and power, and the things I hear back is, it's the budget, and but people don't have the money for this, and blah blah blah. But it doesn't have to be about money, because look at the Bleacher Report. Like, okay, yeah, they might be sponsored now, but I'm sure they had to start from somewhere, and that outlet sheds light in the best way on the NBA, on boxing, all sport, on everything. Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
Flow Track are doing a decent job in athletics, but I feel like because it's something that's kind of predominantly American, it can only really benefit that side of the world in a way. But like, we need to use our outlets and make it more fun, make it tasteful. I know the people that come out to our events are usually middle-aged people, but what happens when those middle-aged people become elderly people? Yeah. Like, where's the point gonna come where we shift the focus on who we're trying to attract? Young people. And I feel like if we're attracting things in a cool way, the engagement in sport is gonna go up crazily. It has to, because I know when I watch some of these things on Instagram and see it on TV, sometimes I'm thinking, you know what? I want to try a thing in the UFC. I know I want to get my head knocked off, but I'm thinking I want to try it because this looks fun. Look at how they promoted it. Look at the trash talk. Like, when we have press conferences, it's the press conferences with the same athletes all the time. And I'm not going to say they don't deserve it. Of course they deserve it because they're sick. And I know if I'm in that position, well, I want to have the press conference. But spice it up a bit. Have a press conference. Okay, if you're going to have the women's 10K, which I don't know if anyone watches, like, people watch it, but like sometimes it's people's toilet breaks as well. Let's be real, yeah?
I mean, I only watch it depending on who's running.
Or you might watch it if Mo was in it, or if someone you want to see was in it.
Yeah, last 2 laps.
Yeah, or last, like, yeah. But you're not going to watch it. A lot of people are going to watch it from start to finish. It's like half an hour or something like that, yeah? All right, cool. Now imagine if in a press conference before you had the world number 1 or the top 2 people come into the event, you had a press conference with them both there at the same time and asking questions that were like, that would provoke an interesting response. And I spoke to some of the guys at British Athletics like a couple times about this as well. If we've got trials coming up, if everyone's okay with it, bring everyone to have a press conference and ask them questions that I guess would force the other man to say something that would now say, I can't wait to see this race.
That would be amazing, because
we don't do that.
For one, if you've got everyone around the table and then you turn and say, all right,
who's the best here?
So who's the best here? Or, well, your head to head with this person stands at 5-1.
Exactly. Like, but that's what we need.
We need that to make it more exciting for the public. And 9 times out of 10, we don't even actually get to see.
You don't get to see
the post-race stuff. We don't get to see none of that.
Unless the person won. You don't get to hear from the other 7 who might have something interesting to say.
Nice. Oh, you didn't quite make it. Move to the side.
And all we get, and this is the thing I always say all the time, all we get is a compilation of maybe like 30 seconds of your face being on the TV screen. Yeah. In that 30 seconds, you're now trying to work on your outreach to your fans, get new engagement, all these other things, build your social media platform, build your brand with 30 seconds on a screen. And in that 30 seconds, you're not the main shot. Your head is there, or your ear, or your elbow. How's a man gonna see that and then say, yeah, I'm a fan of this guy's elbow? Not gonna work like that. So we need to have, and this is the thing I say with the Bleacher Report and the other, there's another account that I've seen, or the Football Council 433 or whatever, all the other accounts like, they cover people before they blow as well. Like, they will cover the upcoming 14, 15, 16-year-old, 17-year-old. So when they make it to the NBA and they're like the high school.
But that's why we know about everyone.
We know about everyone because you've seen them when they were 17. You've seen their highlight reels. And that's why I was saying before, like, I'm such a big fan of the Athletics Productionz because they will cover the montages on people, so it's documented. If someone wants to do their research on you, they will see your race and they know what you're about. And I think in athletics, we don't have that. All it is, tickets on sale now, or come and watch so-and-so run, that's it.
And it's literally
and we're not selling out. You go to trials and you look at the stadium, it's bloody empty. And you trained for 40 plus weeks, working your ass off, blood, sweat and tears. You're going to a stadium and it's not even full. And I'm not saying that I'm sure your motivation shouldn't just be the crowd. It's not my motivation. But there's a big difference between going to a stadium and watching and seeing it be patchy and even seeing people moving around, not even concentrating, to being in a packed stadium that you only see, I guess, at championships or at certain diamond leagues.
Yeah, because 9 times out of 10, when you're
watching... That's the thing. We need to think about why did back in the day, trials used to be rammed, packed out. They'd packed out Crystal Palace, Loughborough. These are things that used to be on BBC. So I know the funding and the money and everything, okay, whatever. But in this day and age, you don't need to be a millionaire or have £1 million budget to create exposure on something. If that was the case, none of us would be anywhere, because who has the money to push themselves if that's what it solely relied on? All it needs is a changing of the guard, and I think a refreshment of ideas, bringing in young people and getting their opinions on things and saying, actually, let's try this push. Let's engage people through our stories or through our polls or through the interview structures we do or through, you know what I mean? Because think about when you're on Instagram. If I'm someone who is pushing something out, I'm going to think, I need to make something that I wouldn't want to scroll past, essentially, because our attention span when we're looking at something on Instagram or on Twitter is so small. Yeah. If it doesn't grab you in the first 3 seckons, you're gonna switch. You're gonna switch off.
Scroll.
Now imagine when I watch these things, these boxing things. You got Dillian versus Shaw recently, all these boxing things. What they'll have a long boring video, but in that video someone said something spicy. Yeah. That's what they've captioned it. I'm gonna tear his head off. Or what did Chisora say? I'm gonna make him feel like laxatives. He said something like something stupid, he's gonna poop himself or something crazy, right? But that's what they stuck to. And I watched it because I wanted to realize what the hell made Derek Chisora say this. That's why I watched it. The gloves are off. We don't have an equivalent of the gloves are off. We don't have an equivalent of first take. Why? But we're meant to be an elite sport. When the world stops, every 4 years, the whole world stops for the 100 meters final. The world will stop again in 2 years' time in Tokyo. It will stop. But why are we only waiting to that year to push track? What happens in the years before? Imagine if you pushed it in the years before, then that year would be even bigger. Yeah. And that's where we're gonna have more sponsors, more engagement. But instead, all we want to shed light on are the negative people in the sport who are doping, and then that's it. But what about all the positive things that's going on in the sport? No one wants to talk about that. And I just feel like there's doping going on in every sport. Look at John Jones. John Jones has failed more times than I don't even know, like, I can't even know what he's felt so many times, and no one ain't really saying that much, and he's still allowed to become a heavyweight champion and all this stuff.
It's interesting that you say that, because that's always a big thing it's a big thing with athletics, but it's one thing with British athletics that really grinds my gears. It's like they have to do everything in their power to make sure you know that this person has done X, Y, Z.
Crazy. And it's and the thing is, I'm not sitting here advocating for it at all. I'm not saying don't shed light on it, man. It's a calm thing. No, I'm not saying that. Yeah. What I am saying is, it doesn't need to be the headlines, because doping happens in every walk of life. It happens in every sport. But there's a reason why Tyson Fury, for instance, is winning Sportsman of the Year, Moment of the Year, and getting all these accolades. But he's a drug cheat. No one is making no noise. And I'm not saying we should allow drug cheats to come back and don't shed light on what's happened to them. What I am saying is,
don't make it the focus.
Shed light, don't make it the focus. Focus on the positive things that's happened in sport. There's so many good things that have happened in 2018. Yet when you think about track, most things you're gonna think about is Russia, doping, being banned, so and so did this, Gatlin, blah blah blah. Why are we talking about this?
I think that was why 2016 was so big. Yeah. Because the focus was so much on bad guy, good guy.
Bad guy, good guy. And I get that narrative, but it's only so long you can run with that.
Yeah. That was probably the only time where you've had something like boxing.
That was like 2015, I think. Beijing.
Where you've had that, like, okay, this is going to be good, because this is a guy who's effectively lost everything, won everything, lost everything, come back, and seems to be on the way to being a real challenger.
That storyline was sick. I remember watching it that year and seeing the final and thinking, "Bro, come on!" Because the storyline was litty. I rated that, but the underlining tones behind that was doping.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying? And I think we can make storylines that are positive that draw attention without it being about drugs.
What did Gatlin achieve since he come back? He achieved so many different things, but rather than shine light on that, you're still trying to bring back all these negatives from way back in 2003.
And you don't have to forgive him. You do not have to forgive him, because I'm sure there's a lot of people whose opportunities he took through doping, and I'm never ever in a million years gonna sit here and say, people dope, it happens, whatever. No, I'm not saying that, but I feel like if we want people are getting upset because the engagement in athletics is going down, the money in the sport is going down, the attractiveness of the sport isn't what it used to be. Okay, cool. What do we do about it? And the thing is with our sport, we don't have the kind of unison within the athletes to band together and say, actually, maybe we're getting underpaid, or maybe we're not getting opportunities that we should get, or maybe, no, we deserve more time on TV. We deserve this. We're not doing that, because the person on the top of the tree doesn't give about the person who's below it. And maybe if I was the person at the top of the tree, maybe I wouldn't care, because I'm getting looked after, and that's calm. So I get it. And it's an individual sport, we've got to be for ourselves. But I think there's got to be a point where everyone who loves the sport, people within the sport, and those who want to get involved in the sport, we have to all be on the same page and look at it and say, actually, how do we get the sport back to where it was, to the point where, you know, you got, like, look at Skepta. Skepta put Linford Christie in these lyrics. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? You want to get to the point where someone's going to put you in a lyric, like, that's how big the sport is, and that's how big you are. You're not at a point where, like, yeah, and this is the thing that makes me laugh, I guess, within the track, because you see guys and girls who perform sick, and they roll around like, I'm the how do you not know me? Brother, no one knows you. No one knows you. Just because here people in the center and everything is seeing your face, we don't know you. When you leave the building, or when you leave the athletics kind of environment, no one don't know who the hell you are. And that's the reality of it. It shouldn't be the case, but that's the reality of it right now. Yeah. So, and I'm sitting here just spinning off ideas off the top of my head. I don't have the answers, but you know, as an athlete who's heard a lot about how the sport used to be, even if you see YouTube videos and you look at what it used to be like, it's like, man, like anniversary games this year meant to be basically probably the biggest Diamond League on the circuit. The stadium was not packed out. It was not packed out. Athletics World Cup, it was not. I get they had issues with the planning and blah blah blah. Still, if it's a big competition, why is it not packed out? What are you guys doing wrong that you can't sell this out? Give free tickets out to school kids. I've always said this. Give free tickets to kids, because if they come and they see someone who they feel as though they can relate to, running fast and getting success, they're gonna think, raw, that could be the next Usain Bolt in that stadium. Who sees it because there was a scheme that gave his school or his youth club or whatever free tickets to come and watch the athletics. That's how you fill out stadiums, not by advertising the competition to the same crowd every year who are going to come and do the same every year. It's dead. Have trials in another place. Have trials in London. Maybe that might change things.
That would be amazing. There's a quick track as well.
It's so old school and it's so ancient, like the whole way we do things, and it's like, it's just dead. But I love track, so I'm not someone who's going to quit track because these things are not happening. Yeah. But the truth of the matter is, you know, how does this sport evolve?
That's the big. How does it help you to stay in the sport?
And how does it help you stay in the sport when you're young? And that's what I said earlier. If you don't have a contract when you're young coming through, it's going to be hard. But there aren't other outlets because the sport is still functioning quite amateurly. There aren't a lot of outlets for you to gain income or to get kind of your foot on the ladder without being the thing straight away. Yeah. And that's the problem. But with football, it's not like that, because if you don't get it to the Prem, you're going to get into the Championship. If you don't get a Championship, you're going to have... It's different. You're always going to have a way to have engagement. But with track, it's either you're good or you're not. Yeah. And I appreciate I appreciate the cutthroat aspect of it. But in the same breath, how do we keep young talent in the sport that maybe haven't blossomed yet? Are there more platforms for sponsorship opportunities? I know we have a few in the UK, but again, they're very old school. Are there new methods to attract people in? You know, these are even the competition structure. So many things that over time, I think we've got to take a leaf out of the book of other sports. Because look at it, it's like, I'm not even out here trying to cuss other sports here, but like something like a sport like, let me say, what sport can I even think of? Like cricket, for instance. They get more clout than athletics.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, cricket's more boring than athletics. I don't care.
Cricket,
hate me for saying it.
Cricket, bowls. I can't invest my time.
It's boring.
I can't invest my time.
It's boring. Really cycling.
Athletics
is more entertaining. I think it's a biased opinion, but I think athletics is more entertaining than those sports. Yeah. But those sports get more coverage and more exposure and more fun than all the rest of it. But we don't. We're doing something wrong, and I think you know, at some point someone's got to say something. Someone's got to do something, because you know this is sad, it's sad I'm saying it, but the way athletics is right now, it's not a sport that if I have a child, I would say I want you to be a track star. Do you know what I would say? I want you to be a footballer. Because I see more from that than athletics right now. Because they get looked after more. They get looked after more. I see more from that than football right now. I mean, than athletics right now. And it's
I've always said that an incentive should be, if you win England champs, you get a significant amount of kit from British athletics. Yeah. They're being looked after by Nike. So
and kit drops are not a hard thing to do.
First, second, third, you get kit drop. Obviously, depending on where you come, depends on what you get.
Yeah,
that's an incentive right there for someone to do it. Or cool, you won. We're gonna take care of your next 5-6 competitions. Yeah, because the competitions are not cheap.
No,
I've
been so lucky that I've always been in a position where I've had financial support from an external source that's just funded my dream. But I've always, and I admire people who have second jobs or 9-to-5s and are still trying to chase this dream, because I know I probably couldn't do that. Or I could do it, but I don't know if I would be as successful as I am right now or still be in the sport, because it is difficult. And it's especially difficult when there isn't incentive, like you're saying, to do it. Yeah. It's like, athletics is one of those sports which is probably one of one in a sense of, you could train for more than you compete for one. And then not only that, you could train and still not get nothing out of it. Yeah. Imagine that. All the training,
all the winter training,
the grinding, the sacrificing, the missing out on opportunities in life because you're chasing this dream, and you still might not get anything because there can only be 8 finalists, 3 medalists, and 1 champion. So the rate of failure, the percentage of failure is much more higher than the percentage of success. So it's like, rah, I'm not getting nothing out of this. And people say, oh yeah, but don't chase this, and don't chase the money, and don't chase this and that. But we've got to work towards something. You can't tell someone to go wholehearted for free or in the hopes of not getting anything out of it, unless it's your hobby. Yeah. Then I understand that. But it's like, people got to be realistic these days. At the end of the day,
you need your financial support.
Yeah, and you need financial support, because unfortunately, dreams don't pay the bills. Dreams don't fund your life. We can all dream, or we got to wake up and make things happen. So that's, when it comes to athletics, I guess to answer your question, that's what I think we need to do better. And the IAAF, I think, and it gets very political, because honestly, I guess no one really knows what's happening behind closed doors when it comes to IAAF, but I guess they do a good job they've done a good job of making a Diamond League as prestigious as it is and everything else, and I guess they're doing a good job to a certain degree, but I feel like they can do more for the athletes. I think athletes should be paid more than we're being paid. I think the events, like the pride, I saw this on Twitter, I think Tiana Bartoletta was talking about it, and like they brought out like the schedule for the World Indoor Tour coming up, and the prize money, and I think it collated to like 20 bags or something like that, and it was like
US or pound?
US. But then I guess with the exchange rate now, maybe it's not that bad, but still, like, what? These world-class athletes are busting their ass indoors for 20 grand. Do you know you could go to the US Open or Wimbledon, get battered, and make more than that? Are you crazy? And these are the best. This is not if you take part in the tour. This is if you win it.
Yeah.
You get that. So what happens to people who didn't win that are just as good, but maybe just came up short? They're walking home with like maybe 10 bags, 8 bags, 7? I'm like, nah. That's why I think Adel Belayev could do better. Like, I know the money's somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's got like, and this is the thing, I guess if you're the person who's getting the money, you might not complain. But what if you could get more? What if you could get more?
Yeah.
Then would you be happy with what you're getting right now if you knew there was more out there? That's what I'd say. But these are the powers that are way above me, and my job is just to compete. And you know, I sound like someone who's political and stuff, but I don't want no business in that, to be honest. I don't want to get involved in that. But you know, these are the questions I think as athletes we've got to be aware. We boss our arse off, but at the end of the day, what are you bossing your arse off for? There's got to be an end goal in this. Do you know what I mean? And I just think, you know, with the work we put in, with the amount of diligence you've got to have, sacrificed, everything, I think we deserve more than what some of us get paid off. So obviously in America you hear about these crazy deals, people get millions and stuff, but it's not really like that in Europe. Like, I don't know a lot of millionaire athletes like in the European scene, British scene. I don't know about millionaire athletes, and I know they might not have performed well to deserve that yet. Like, I understand that, but even when they do, like some of the deals you hear people signing for, it's like, but you done really well. Why are you signing for that? And I think that's just where it's at right now. But
because if you have friends in like footballers, like your friends that play semi-pro,
getting way more, and they're sitting on the bench.
Yeah, you're thinking, well, you know,
that's the equivalent of being a relay runner in a way and not running and getting paid. That don't happen for us. But even with the whole contract stuff, it's like, again, the athletes are in control because, and this is the thing, when I was younger and we were getting deals, people were still getting signed for like decent amounts of money. Mm-hmm. But like, where it gets for people is that if a junior now comes out and the best junior signs for peanuts, everyone else, because the brand is going to say, well, the best of your bunch got this much. Yeah. Why the hell am I going to give you that? And we shoot ourselves in the foot. So stand for more. That's like when I was a youth,
your worth.
I didn't get offered a lot from Nike, but my dad said to me, well, man, this still ain't good. Hold out, trust in your ability, you'll run better next year. I ran better, and the deal like tripled or quadrupled even. So that's the thing. It's like, and the thing is that it's such a touchy subject because I can't tell you what you should sign for, what you should accept, because I don't know your financial situation. You might need to provide for your family and whatnot, and you need that money now. Can't tell you wait a year for something that might not happen. I get it. But if you have patience, if you have some sort of belief that you can do it, hold out, get what you deserve, because it helps everyone in the long run. Because when the guys who came before me were signing for loads, that helped my situation because I knew that, I could walk in and say, well, actually, I want this. Because I know you gave my man that. Yeah. So you got to give me at least this. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then now, if they're signing for peanuts, then he's and the brands are walking away with a bargain. You're getting special specimens for cheap. Like, that's like, bro, I don't even know what that's like. That's like, getting fake Yeezys, bro. And someone saying, your Yeezys are lit. They're real fake Yeezys. It's like that. We're not fake Yeezys, we're the real. So pay us like we are. That's what I say. So athletes got to take responsibility in that sense as well. Know your worth and surround yourself in a team that's going to help you, you know, get what you can from the sport. Essentially, I guess.
Okay, cool. So last two questions. Yeah. What advice do you have for young athletes and the not so young athletes that are still pushing to try to do something with the sport?
All right, cool. Yeah, perfect. And like I said, disclaimer, you know, I'm not perfect. I'm not the guy that have all the answers. I'm still trying to figure it out myself. But just from, I guess a lot of it is common sense, experience. Yeah. I would say it with that lens. For young athletes, I'll say it's really simple. Don't watch what our next man is doing. Like, focus on your journey because every journey is different. If someone's somewhere today, doesn't mean they're going to be there tomorrow. You could be there tomorrow. Hold the faith, hold the vision, and keep pushing. And like, I just feel like, especially for those who are good when they're young, take your time. Surround yourself with a good team. A team is important. A team is the difference between winning championships or not winning championships. I think
have
a good coach around you, a coach that's honest, a coach that wants the best for you and isn't there for any other reason. Surround yourself with a good unit, a good manager, a good agent, good family members that have your best interest in mind. And I think if you've got a good team, that's half the battle. You're giving yourself the best opportunity to perform. So get a good team, be patient, don't watch anyone else, and seize the opportunities when you have them. Don't let people tell you you're too young, wait. If you wait till 2024, for instance. If you're good to go in 2020, go 2020. Because you don't know when you're going to get your next opportunity again. That's how brutal life is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And for older people, I guess, I think because where maybe, my maturity kind of comes into it and common sense on this part, I would just say, if you've been doing the same thing for a long time and getting the same results, maybe you should do something different. I say that with the most respect possible. If you keep getting the same results, you're still that same guy or same woman who's coming up short. You're known to be maybe just a relay runner, or you're known for just always bumming out. Maybe you should do something different. Maybe you should reinvent yourself to get to somewhere you haven't been before. And I think also, I feel like people shouldn't get so sucked into this whole, I'm going to be my peak in my mid-20s, because people develop at different rates. Linford Christie was winning the Olympics late 30s, mid-30s.
Yeah.
You've seen Gatlin. I know you might have your speculations about how he got there, but he's another. Kim Collins is probably a better example.
Shout out to Kim Collins.
How old is he? 40?
He
how old is
he? 41, 42.
41.
He, for me, just has a golden aura about him.
Yeah, it's crazy.
To be PBing at the age that he was and running the times that he was, that's crazy. I don't know if
Dwayne's another one. Dwayne, he's 40.
He ran to
and he's about to make his comeback. He's talking. He trains at the Valley, so he's talking to me about he wants to go Europeans and everything. And when I see him train, I don't think he's talking. I actually think, maybe you could.
Okay.
So watch out for him as well. I would just say don't put age limits on yourself just because of what the norm is. The norm, there isn't no norm anymore. Bolt did his thing when he was 21, 22.
Yeah.
Linford was doing his thing. Carl Lewis was doing a thing later on. So there's different ends of the spectrum. Don't limit it to I've got to be a certain age to do this. If I don't, I'm gonna quit. And there's so many people who were only a season away from it, or a race away, or a few weeks away, and they gave up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's that picture on Instagram I always see with someone underground digging.
Yeah.
And then gold is over here, and they dug up until here, and then they walked away.
Yeah.
Keep digging. That's what I would say to people who have been in the sport for a long time. Maybe necessarily they haven't achieved their potential yet. Evaluate yourself honestly. Am I where I really need to be? Am I doing everything that I need to do to warrant the results I want? If you are, keep doing it. It will pay off eventually. If you aren't, rebrand yourself, reinvent yourself, rekindle yourself. Too many people are stuck in their ways and blame everything else. My coach was doing this, it was windy, that stadium, that track, my spikes, my brand, my mum. Stop blaming people.
Yeah.
Stop blaming people. Take responsibility, because at the end of the day, you're the one who goes on the track and performs. Because if you perform well, you would take all the adulation, wouldn't you? Yeah. So now when it goes badly, don't start blaming other people. Be consistent with it. Either blame everyone forever, even when you run fast, is it your fault I ran fast? Do that. Rather than blaming people when it goes badly and then, trying to take it on. So that's the thing I've learned as well. Just don't blame people. Always blame yourself. Unless someone's really done you dirty, then cool, okay, you got to pass the bucket a bit. But for the most part, take responsibility. And that way you're going to grow. And I don't think anyone's too young or too young to keep growing. You could be 40. You never stop growing until you die. You never stop growing. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I say to older athletes. I'm sure whoever watches it and sees that I'm young might not think, because I'm sure if I heard a young girl talking, I might not listen to it. But no, I have to listen to it. But I think from what I've seen as common sense, and I might have even looked at your career and thought, why does this person keep on getting bad at this competition every time? He needs to do something else, or she needs to do something else. Sometimes there's a bit of logic in that, because they might not be wrong.
I mean, there's so many athletes, and this is no disrespect to any of them because at the time they were doing their thing. There's so many track and field athletes that have gone and found new life in bobsleigh.
Yeah, for real.
There's so many of them that have gone and found.
Now. There's quite a lot.
And
there's a lot. And have they not lost their funding recently or something like that?
I think so, yeah.
So I know it might not be as attractive now, but even still, the fact of realizing when it's time to start a new venture, understand when to leave. Because some people don't understand when to stop, and there's such a fine line between knowing when to stop and still believing. I get it, and I'm not trying to be a pessimist and say, give up, man. Like, I'm not gonna be like that guy. But sometimes you gotta know when it's time to just leave it and go on to another chapter, because that chapter could be maybe what your calling really is. It might not be track, it might be something else, and that's what I'd say, really. So that's what I'd say.
All right, well, thank you so much for this very insightful podcast. I really can't wait to listen back to this myself.
Yeah, same.
Because we touched on quite a lot of things. Could you please do me a favor and plug your socials so that anyone who isn't following you, they can go and do that?
Well, my Instagram is really simple now. I got them to change it recently, so it's just OJIE. That's it. Very simple. So if you can't follow that, then you're just a snake. You're just a snake. So follow that. And on my Twitter, it is OJIE _EDOBURUN EDOBURUN. I'm not really on Twitter too much, so you're better off following me on Instagram. That's really where it's popping. So follow me.
We'll try to tag it somewhere.
Follow me on there, and then you just see everything that I'm doing.
And we'll probably put his YouTube channel as well.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and put some more stuff up on my channel. This season.
Stuff on there.
So I've got a few trainer videos and whatnot. But just look out for me for this season and beyond. So
lastly, before we go, what is your main target for this season?
Well, the first target coming up is obviously the European Indoor Championships. I'm feeling really confident about that, feeling really positive about that. For me, I know everyone's kind of like, oh, why are you doing indoors? It's so long here, blah, blah, blah. And I get that, but I feel like if you're someone who maybe like a Dina or maybe like let's say Felix, or someone who's a champion at something, or you've done really well, I understand the reasoning for wanting to push out your season starting your season a bit further, because really and truly you've displayed countless times the ability to make a team to perform at that level. So take your time. But if you're someone who hasn't done anything, which is the case for a lot of us, I don't get the whole holding back. Like, what are you holding back for? You haven't done anything yet. So I think you need to get out there and race. So for me, but with that being said, do what you want. Do you know what I mean? But for me, like, I need to build up a report of senior individual performances before I get to the big stage. So a European Championships indoors, one, it's an opportunity for me to work on the first half of my race and kind of working on becoming a more complete sprinter. But it's an opportunity to be in the championships, learn the lessons and the knocks and everything, good or bad, that come with it, and use that to grow in confidence and help me be better prepared for the outdoor competition. So Europeans is the first one. Obviously, I want to make the team for the 100 meters in Doha, and that'll be my target. I haven't even thought that far when it comes to Doha, but I just know I want to compete to the best of my ability, and whatever that translates into, I'm sure it will be representative of what I've done in 2019. So I just want to run faster, get under 10 seconds, and just keep this train moving towards Tokyo and beyond, to be honest.
Cool.
Oh, good luck. I'm very best to you for that, because we hope to see you in Tokyo.
Yes. That's the aim. That is the aim.
Thank you so much for being our first ever guest. We look forward to having you again at some point in the very near future. I'm DJ Armani alongside my co-host Victor. And we will be seeing you guys shortly. Athletics Productionz. Follow it.
When I'm stepping in, 30 bottles of Zoom till I'm sentimental. I had to